Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and it is Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe. That's you, each and every, yeah, and you in New York, and we got people from all over New Mexico and Michigan and British Columbia, and of course California, Hawaii. Welcome, everyone. Now, I want to welcome those of you watching on Facebook because you can come on into our Zoom room, and it's always a good idea to do that. And you can still do that. It's really easy. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and you'll see right there it says register for season 6. That's the season we're in. We've done 6 seasons. This is, I think, our 71st show, and it's been pretty remarkable. So join us, globalpeacetribe.com. And what's wonderful is that way you can come into the Zoom room, you can more easily connect with our presenters, chat with us, and you'll also will have your email address, and you'll get emails from Deborah that let us know, let you know about upcoming shows and events, and most of all, replays and how to get the replays of this show and all the amazing previous shows that we've done. So please do that. globalpeacetribe.com. So tonight's show is all about the power of the brain and whole body fitness, caring for our body temple. And it's a show that we've spent months putting together. I want to acknowledge our sponsor, Lori Grace, who's done a wonderful job of introducing us to a lot of doctors who you're going to hear from. Those of you who are in the early Zoom room just heard from Dr. Ricky Polikov. Always want to thank our executive producer, Jay Mayer, and I want to thank our co-host and our person who really put the show together, Jan Kaplan. And you'll be seeing the lovely Jan Kaplan in just a moment. But to move things forward, she's back. Here is my partner, Deborah Giusti.
Thank you, Scott, and welcome everyone to our 71st show that we produced every Saturday night since the lockdown. And this is the last show of the first month of season 6, An Incredible Mix. And we're so happy you're joining us. And again, thank you so much for your donations when you register and the donations into our GoFundMe. We provide this show to you by donation, so we deeply request and appreciate your support that empowers us to produce a show every Saturday night for you. So thank you so much. And again, this is going to be a very unique and very amazing show. Our theme is the power of the brain and whole body fitness, caring for our body temple. Well, a lot of us that are part of the Global Peace Tribe are familiar with taking care of our health in many ways. We do things to improve our physical stamina, our body health, our well-being. But do we think about and consider assisting one of the most important organs of our body, the brain? A lot of times we don't even think about it until something shows up, like short-term memory loss or witnessing an elderly friend or cohort get compromised mentally. Also, we should realize in the holistic reality, the brain and body work together. So there are many ways to improve and achieve our optimum physical health and mental health. And we can have a lot more of a better life and by understanding how our brain and body work together to support each other. So with this show, we are going to have incredible doctors and professionals who are going to offer uplifting conversations about the benefits of brain health and exercise that can help us manage stress, anxiety, depression, attention deficit, hormonal changes, and aging. So I'm now very happy to present our very esteemed panelist of doctors and professionals, and of course, our musicians. Tonight, we have with us Dr. Dale Bredesen. He's an internationally recognized expert in the mechanisms of neurodegenerative diseases, and he's made a career guided by the simple idea that Alzheimer's, as we know it, is not just preventable, but it's reversible. And we're also happy to invite Hyla Cast, who's a recognized pioneer in holistic medicine, psychiatry, and author of several popular books that help people enhance their mind and mood, overcome addiction, and avoid psychiatric medications using targeted nutrients. Lori Grace, who is the sponsor of our show, she's had a personal and professional passion in regards to this topic of brain fitness, as it has inspired us to create this show. She's also a dedicated activist for the environmental issues, whose passion is to inspire people to live a greener life. We also featured Dr. Ricky Polikov, who's been in private practice for over 35 years. She focuses on hormones,
I've noticing my head
lowering disease risk, breast disease throughout the life cycle. We're also happy to have Deborah Poneman, who's the founder and CEO of Yes to Success Seminars and the co-founder of the highly acclaimed Ageless Seminar that has transformed lives of hundreds of thousands of people around the world. We have Dr. Nafska Parpia. She's a sought-after speaker at conferences and a physician who treats treatment plans that are highly individualistic and healing. She helps patients find the balance between external factors and their body's internal mechanisms and their mind. And we've got great music again. We're going to be featuring Jayu Tal, who is a Grammy nominee, kirtan artist, multi-instrumentalist, and ecstatic vocalist. He is considered a pioneer in the world music and the Bhakti communities. And he's been leading and teaching and performing around the world for 50 years. And we're really happy to have Valerie Romanoff. She's a guitarist, a composer who takes audiences through a full spectrum of music. Her songs embody the idea that we create our own reality by the thoughts we think. And her music gives vibrations of peace and love. Welcome, Valerie. And we're also happy to have Joanna One-Heart Beekman. She's a multi-genre performer, recording artist who has toured major festivals and venues with heart-opening music. Welcome, Johanna. So happy to have you back again. And as you know, we use this Saturday Night Alive platform to do good in the world, to get the green love, the financial abundance that circulates, to give it to community organizations in need or people in need. It's been a really powerful thing we've done. We've generated over $100,000 from donations from you that we've given to organizations. So tonight, the community organization that we are funding is going to be supporting Native American children. It's through the Lakota Peoples Project. They run foster home care that offers children a safe place to learn, play, and stay. So your gift will support Native children with the lifelong benefits of kinship care, meaning they stay with their people, grounded in their own culture, in their traditions and family ties. And I'm going to post that link in the chat room, and we'll share more about that later. But now I want to honor and introduce Jan Kaplan. She is a senior producer on our show. She's produced many shows. She's responsible, along with Jay Mayer, for the Indigenous Wisdom series that we've been producing for many months now. She's also had a lifelong interest in good health. So thank you, Jan, for your work on this show, and please share a bit about your inspiration in producing this show.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And, you know, it's a real treat to work with Lori because we actually share a lot of the same passions. You know, since I was a child, I really always, you know, was inspired by the healthy people in my life and tried to follow that path, though there are lots of distractions. But anyways, I'm so excited to help with the show tonight. Very inspiring speakers, presenters, and music. So we're going to get up and dance tonight and have some fun and learn a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, and as Jan said, we always love to start with music. You guys know that, those of you that come every week, we always start with music. And one of our favorite musicians is Valerie Romanoff. She is amazing. Her guitar just blows me away. And for any of you who are not familiar with Valerie, she really takes her audience through a full spectrum of music. Music for meditation, she calls it still. She also does chill, which is music for activation, thrill, music for celebration, and so it goes. Her songs embody the idea that we do create our reality by the thoughts that we think, the words that we speak, and the ideas that we imagine. Her music is infused with the vibrations of peace and love, and we're going to get not one, but two live songs with Valerie, including her girlfriend Johanna joining live, and then an amazing video. It's like I play this video every morning to wake myself up, and you'll see that towards the end of the show. So enough about Valerie. Let's hear Valerie. Take it away, gal.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much, everybody. It's so great to be here, and especially for this kind of content. Music is such an important tool for our wellness and the whole system that we have. Music for meditation just really relaxes us and centers us. And I'm going to invite everybody to take these first couple of moments and just let the music take you on a little journey. Breathe in and out, find your center, and then we'll rev it up and you can follow whatever it is that the music wants, where it wants to take you. So just breathe. Everybody get up. If the music makes you want to dance and sing, it's good for us. This song is called Shine Tonight. It's about letting our spark shine. Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine. Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine.
Those days of looking over my shoulder are over. I'm down with perfectly imperfect. Yeah.
Embrace yourself.
Oh yeah. I think I'll try that on.
Remember that.
And remember every time I hear this song.
Love what is. This is where it is right now. Love what is. What is.
What it is.
Love what is. This is where it is right now. Love what is. What is.
Don't wait for no permission. You know we're on a mission.
Love what is. What is.
You are the light that glistens upon the star you're wishing.
Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine. Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine.
Every day I introduce myself to myself. What else? I tune into the self above myself and love myself. That sounds good. And then I go about my day for a bowl of special K. When it lights my way, though it sounds mundane, this is how I pray. She's in the zone, and that's where I'm gonna stay.
Love what is.
You know, someone there.
Where it is right now. Love what is. What is.
What it is.
Love what is. This is where it is right now. Love what is. What is.
Don't wait for no permission. You know we're on a mission.
Love what is.
and my band. Everyone's singing the Starlight Orchestra, everybody. Everybody sing along. Come on,
Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine tonight. Everybody gonna shine.
Woo! Thank you, everybody. Wow, I feel all revved up and juiced up. And you know, that's the power of music. The power of music to get us all juiced up, get our bodies going, get our mind, body, and spirit together.
Absolutely. Valerie, we love you so much. And I want to remind everybody that she's got a lot of offerings. So go to her website, and it's easy. It's her name, Valerie Romanoff Music. That's Valerie, V-A-L-E-R-I-E, Romanoff, R-O-M-A-N-O-F-F, music, M-U-S-I-C.com, ValerieRomanoffMusic.com. I know they made a movie recently about her Russian sister, Black Widow, but this is the real Romanoff that's got the right vibe for the Global Peace Tribe. So go there. Hey, Valerie, is there anything you want me to really point out to people on your website?
Well, you know, there's a lot of different kinds of live performances. The recording that you heard was an original song, but it was done by my band, the Starlight Orchestra, and we perform for big events. It's a big, fun band, cover tunes and original music. And Groove into Bliss is experiential music, still chill thrill.
Great. Well, we're going to hear more from you. Looking forward to seeing you a little bit later on in the show. Thank you so much for getting us off to a rockin' start. And now to introduce really our sponsor, the woman who put this whole show together. She's one of my oldest friends. I've met her 37 years ago. She's done a great job putting the show together. To tell us more about Laurie Grace, here's Jan.
Hey, thank you, Scott. And yeah, we're so excited that Laurie decided to sponsor this show because it's really inspiring. And Laurie is a PhD candidate. She's been a student of health and attended many conferences on health since 2000. Her attention to the subject of brain and cardiovascular health expanded when she found out that she actually had a gene for the late onset Alzheimer's. She's also studied in depth hormonal health and oral health and how these factors can affect the brain. So she's delighted to be sponsoring here tonight. And she wanted to invite people as well to her more in-depth presentation on this exact topic. It's going to be Wednesday, August 11th at Sunrise Center in Corte Madera, California. And Laurie is an amazing friend, donor, and activist. And welcome, Laurie.
Thank you.
Laurie, thank you. And Laurie actually has pre-recorded a video because she wanted to get everything in there. So we're going to take a look, even though the real Laurie is with us live, we're going to take a look at a video that she and Jan recorded a couple days ago.
So that would.
We're so excited to have Laurie Grace with us tonight. And Laurie, what is it about these topics that inspired you to want to sponsor a whole show?
I have been excited about the mind-body connection since I was a girl. And I am very interested in many more people knowing about the mind-body connection. I want to let you know that both in terms of assisting with reducing the effects of Alzheimer's or healing psychologically, the mind and the body have both got to be treated. That's why I brought in a few of these doctors that bring in a holistic approach.
You have some, kind of a list of really important topics that you are probably going to be covering in your August 11th presentation. Maybe
that's correct.
Share that.
Yeah, I'd like to mention that because just the things that were mentioned with the physicians, et cetera, that we have presenting are not enough. We're having to look at our sugar levels and, how close to pre-diabetes is each one of us. Our essential minerals like zinc, copper, magnesium, our heavy metals and toxins in our body and how do they influence us. Mold also that Nafisa will deal a little bit with. Our sleep hygiene. And are we eating foods that we're allergic to? And then also effects of excessive alcohol if we drink, or the effects of excessive marijuana, okay? So these are a few things. Additionally, you have your vitamin B and D levels and the effects of psychotropic medications like Prozac and Paxil and various things like that, and antipsychotics, and our neurotransmitter levels and what kind of amino acids do we have in our body. So that's really quite a list. And we're going to look at more of this in my August 11th meeting, where I'm also inviting people, if they sign up, to please email if they have a question ahead of time, so I can give special research time to answering their question. I may know it already, but I want to do an extra work and learning. I love it. And I'm also giving a PowerPoint as well.
And we'll post that link where people can send questions to in the chat box. We'll post that. So
they finally did
Yeah,
it.
Jacinta at sunrisecenter.org.
And
So I
I
think
know that you have your own particular passion, and there's something especially that you enjoy, want to share with us for the show.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say I'm passionate about all of those things, but for this show especially, I'm passionate about something that is not being covered, which is the effects of aerobic exercise. And just to let you know, they are dramatic. At the conference of neuroplasticity at the Institute for Functional Medicine, exercise was seen as the most effective drug for any kind of mental conditions, okay? And so the thing is, I want to tell you about exercise, aerobic exercise, first of all, is that when a person, or when even a laboratory rat exercises, you have the lab rat on the treadmills, their blood vessels going to their brains get bigger and bring more blood, and there's more branching in the neurons and more waste products being taken away through the veins and the lymph. So this is amazing, and it happens all the way down the scale from humans to animals. So anyway, that's one thing that happens. And also the size of the memory center, known as the hippocampus in the brain, becomes larger with aerobic exercise. And also, very interesting, there was a study done at UCLA comparing people doing aerobic exercise, or people doing strength training, or people doing yoga, and the largest hippocampal volume size was, which is the memory center, the hippocampus. The larger hippocampal volume size was with aerobics. The second largest was with strength training, and the third largest was with yoga. Now, I do want to say that everything's important. Just because you don't grow as fully in your memory center volume practicing yoga doesn't mean it's important. It is important. It's very important for stress management and for stretching your ligaments so you can keep exercising aerobically, so really all three come together. But it is important to know how dramatically important aerobic exercise is. And we're going to go into the details of that and how to do that kind of exercise, how much of it to do in the program at Sunrise Center.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. And so we'll look forward to, having our audience reach out to you with questions. And we're so grateful that you're sponsoring the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lori. And Lori is going to stick around, and at the end of our show, she's going to do questions and answers. So if any of you have specific questions, definitely, hang in there and join us. We're going to try and get the show done by 8 o'clock. And we are also going to, after question and answer time, we are going to show the Ricky Polycove video that we showed during our early Zoom room show. And to introduce tonight's Wisdom Jewels, here's Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. One of the most important things that we offer on Saturday Night Live is inspirational wisdom. So I want to thank Jay Mayer and Jan Chaplin for providing the Wisdom Jewels that is a creative and interesting look at the wisdom around brain fitness. So thank you, Jan and Jay.
All right, let's take a look at this week's Wisdom Jewels. So thank you, Jay and Jan, for all the amazing work you do with creating all these videos, including the video we're about to see. As Deborah mentioned at the start of the show, we're really proud of the fundraising that we do on this show. And we've raised over $100,000. Sometimes it's for individuals, sometimes it's for nonprofit organizations. And tonight, we really are going to be talking about such an important issue. Lori Grace has been a longtime supporter of the Lakota Law Project. Many of you have seen Chase Iron Eyes on our show before. He was on just a couple of weeks ago. And he's the founder and the executive director of the Lakota Law Project. And they're doing really important work. And here's a short video. I did a little interview with Chase a couple of days ago to talk a little bit more about this particular project that we are asking you to help provide support for tonight.
Howe Medakyapi Kola Iuha Ichichab. This is Chase Iron Eyes from the Lakota People's Law Project. It's my honor and privilege to be with you tonight, and I want to thank Saturday Night Alive, Brother Scott, all the organizers. Special shout out to our good friend Lori, who has caused tonight's event to be in pursuance of or in furtherance of our organization at Lakota People's Law Project. If you didn't know, we are a nonprofit that started, and the reason why I joined almost 10 years ago is because of the work that our organization does with Native American children. If you were not aware, we had to fight for our right to raise our children and instill our cultural identity to attempt to repair the genocidal damage that was done with the boarding school, the forced boarding school and forced residential school era. Now that era transition, and you're seeing a lot of it in the news today because mass graves of our children are being discovered and uncovered and unearthed at these church-run boarding schools and residential schools in the United States and in what is now called Canada. Now, this era transitioned from a forced boarding school era into a coerced adoption, Indian adoption era, and also a further boarding school era in which my mom was a member of these boarding schools. My grandparents were members of these boarding schools, and these boarding schools, that's a euphemism. They should not be called schools, but they were designed to erase and destroy our original dignity, our esteem in who we are as Indigenous peoples. So to that end, our organization fought directly the source of those continued and ongoing Indian Child Welfare Act violations And the Indian Child Welfare Act is a federal law that was passed in 1978. And I joined Lakota People's Law Project because at the time we were fighting the state of South Dakota, which has, and to this day, continues to take upwards of 700 Native American children every single year from Native American parents and place them in violation of federal law. 9 times out of 10 is placing these Native American children in non-Indian homes and institutions in violation of the Federal Indian Child Welfare Act. So to help remedy this situation, we contemplated suing the state of South Dakota, but we also took a more immediate and proactive approach to empowering tribal governments and tribal communities to run their own foster care systems, to avail themselves of federal funding, which would help alleviate this grave situation that we still face. But to that end, we've established a foster home on the Standing Rock Reservation, and we are in the process of creating a youth empowerment center, a series of houses and infrastructure in and around the Standing Rock Reservation, the Standing Rock Nation, where I grew up until I was 19 years old. And also, Standing Rock is the site of the Dakota Access Pipeline fight in 2016 and 2017. And some of you may be aware of that ongoing legal saga. So I'm honored to be working in my homeland, in the Oceti-Sakowee homelands, to try to remedy this, and even if it's just some small way. Your help means the world to us, and I want to thank you for that.
And to please watch the movie Hearts on the Ground. It's a YouTube, to really understand how devastating it has been to have your children taken away from you for seeing a traditional healer, or for, you know, 2 parents fighting one day and they got overheard, and for the kind of way that the federal government gives substantial money, $70,000 per child taken away from the parents. So I really encourage you to help these people. They are suffering, and if you want to really understand the suffering even more deeply, go to Hearts on the Ground on YouTube.
We're actually going to play Hearts on the Ground during our after show tonight. We're going to do questions and answers with Lori. We're going to do a video with Ricky Polikov, and we're going to show Hearts on the Ground. And again, a reminder, I know that Deborah's been putting the link in the chat box, but please, everybody, here's the Lakota People's Law Project. We're raising money for it. Let's be very generous and help this incredibly important cause. Thank you so very, very much. All right, time for some more music, and to tell us a little bit about that, here's Deborah.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you so much for your donations. I see your comments in the chat box, those that have donated, and really appreciate it. We can make a difference. And this show's music is going to be incredible tonight. So I'm so happy to introduce our next musician, Joanna One Heart Beekman. She's one of our favorite musicians of Saturday Night Alive. We've had several times. We're so happy to have her back. She's a multi-genre performer, recording artist. She goes to a lot of the festivals that are out there. You'll see her live as soon as the festivals come back. She hosts One Heart TV, which features consciousness expanding music and interviews with luminaries to heal the world. And she also offers one-on-one and small group sessions, coachings, and workshops. But what I love from her is she sings from deep in the heart, and she opens the heart with her music. So happy to have you back again, Johanna. Welcome.
I'm happy to be back here with you guys virtually. I've gotten to see you in person, and so it's nice to be back behind the screen, loving you from afar, and I hope to see you all very soon in real life as the world unfolds. But thank you so much for that transmission and for donating a portion of this to the Lakota people and for this ancestry that this land has. I had just written a song, this is brand new. It's called We Are Sacred. I grew up going to powwows thinking that I was partially Native American until my parents did 23andMe. So I actually grew up with great reverence for this land and for the earth and for Great Spirit. And so this song is a song that's a transmission, and also I'm lifting a bit from my friend Wind Song Martin here in the Willamette Valley, who wrote a song we've all heard. So you can sing along when we get there. We'll sing Heyo on Heya, Heya Ho for the Native people. And then I'm going to introduce my friend Chad here that I picked up at a retreat recently in person to play some music with me tonight with all of you. We'll be on the percussion. So this will be on my new album, due out next year. And you can donate to that just at my PayPal, Johanna Music. Actually, Jayu Tall's here, so we share a producer, Ben Leinbach, for that project. We are sacred. We are holy. We are the ones to walk this land. This land is sacred. This land is holy. We are the ones to heal this land. We are sacred. We are holy. We are the ones to walk this land. This land is sacred. This land is holy. We are the ones to heal this land. Oh, Pachamama, I'm coming home, home. 'Cause we are sacred, we are sacred, we are holy. We are the ones to walk this land. This land is sacred. This land is sacred. This land is holy. We are the ones to heal this land. Pachamama, Pachamama, I'm coming home. I'm coming home, home. Mother, I feel you under my feet. 'Cause Mother, I feel you under my feet. Every breath is your Holy Spirit living through me. Oh, I'm coming home. 'Cause Mother, I feel you under my feet. Every breath is your Holy Spirit living through me. Yeah. land is sacred. This land is holy. We are the ones to heal this land. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones to heal this land. To heal this land. To heal this land. To heal this land. I dedicated that to the native people of this Willamette Valley where I am right now, the Kalapuya people of the Kalapuya River that chant was written for in honor of. Oh.
You give me chills every time, Johanna, and you did it again. We're lucky we're going to get more Johanna tonight, but also want to remind you, please go to her website. It's Johanna Sings, JohannaSings, Johanna Sings, SINGS.com. And she's got a lot going on. Are you still doing vocal sessions for people?
I am indeed doing vocal sessions and harmonium sessions, and I can do it on Skype or in person. And I'm actually just in the next couple of weeks launching an online lullaby yoga course. You can email us at info@johannasings.com, and you'll be one of the first people to get a gift package along with this special class. And it's a total reset to our nervous systems through sound and through vibration and through music and through the sacred practice of yoga that anyone can do with pillows in your bed, luxuriating in your own sacred nest.
She coined the phrase lullaby yoga. I love that.
Yeah, that's my trademarked brand of yoga. But you know, basically, it's about the best medicine we can do. I can't say how much I exercised in my 20s and remained a similar weight, and then I started to breathe and relax and sing instead of going to the gym, and I lost 20 pounds. So, you know, there's something for this that we're doing where we do less. It actually is more. So anyway, thanks for receiving that medicine and checking with us about it.
Thank you, Johanna. We'll see you in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. I get to introduce a longtime friend of mine, Dr. Hyla Cass. She's a recognized pioneer in holistic medicine and psychiatry, and she's the author of several popular books. Hyla has dedicated her life to helping people to enhance their mind and their mood and to overcome addiction and psychiatric medication. She uses targeted nutrients, and she's very involved now in helping us to understand how we can use CBD oil. So Hyla wasn't able to join us live, but I did a pre-recorded video with her earlier in the week, and so I'm going to play that, and definitely pay close attention because there's some really good wisdom in here from Hyla Cass.
Thank you for inviting me, Jan and Scott. It's so good to be back here and talking about my favorite topic, the brain. And tonight, it's going to be about stress and your brain. So what's stress? We're going to talk about what's stress, how your body and brain react to it, and what you can do about it. We're in the midst of an epidemic of anxiety, insomnia, depression, problems with memory, and even problems with overall brain power. People are having trouble with being able to think clearly. And they may also have digestive problems, muscle tension, high blood pressure, heart arrhythmias, sexual dysfunction. Like, what's going on? Why is all this happening now? Well, you go to your doctor who says, oh, it's stress, and offers you a prescription for a benzodiazepine. What's that? It's Valium, Librium, Klonopin, Xanax, maybe Ambien to sleep, maybe an antidepressant. What they don't warn you about is that these mids are stopping to work after some time, but you can't get off them so easily. If you stop a drug suddenly, then you will go into terrible withdrawal, and it's very uncomfortable and can last for months. So I'd say if you are on a medication and you want to get off, you need to seek the help of a knowledgeable practitioner who will help you with the use of specific nutrients. But I'd recommend you really think twice before accepting one of these prescriptions, because it's serious business. So what's stress? Is it like it's stress, it's in your head, you can control it? Well, no, it's actually a pretty sophisticated total body reaction. And it may start in your head. There's something called the HPA axis, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which sends signals from your brain to the pituitary and eventually to your adrenal glands, which produce stress hormones. So what does it look like? Well, we are actually hardwired for something called fight or flight. It's a built-in survival mechanism common to all animals, including human beings, and it is a response to danger. So let me give you an example. So you're a cave person walking through the jungle, and you hear a rustling in the bushes. You go on alert, your hair stands up on end, your eyes widen, your ears perk up, your muscles get tight, including your jaw, your heart is pounding. All of these things that are getting you ready to flee or fight. It's basic, it's primitive. Any thinking you've been doing goes offline. It's just response. You respond and look around and, oh, it's a lion who's eyeing you as its next meal. So this fight or flight response goes on full on and you run. Unfortunately, you escape. So what happens then? Actually, nothing. The stress hormones that were activated dissipate and you go on with your day. Now with animals, it's a little different. It's kind of a more sophisticated take on this. And that is, if that lion were chasing a zebra, and you could see this in National Geographic films, when it's done, when it's fortunate enough to escape, it goes through a series of ritualized movements, which is geared to dissipating those stress hormones. So they're not hanging around in the zebra, and it can go on to munching grass and playing and reproducing and doing what zebras do. So what happens to us in our present day? We still have the stress response. If you're crossing the street and a car suddenly is coming down at you, you jump on the curb. You don't think. That's your stress response. That's normal. That's great. But what isn't great is that most of the time we're sitting at our desk, we're at the computer, when we have all kinds of stresses. We have financial stress, work stress, family stress, you name it. And so what happens? We have these stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, coursing through our body, tensing our muscles, making our heart rate go faster, raising our blood pressure, and shutting off the systems that we don't need. See, during the stress response, you don't need to be digesting your food. You don't need to be reproducing. So your sexual response is offline. Your thinking, your analytic thinking certainly goes offline because your brain is on automatic. So that's great during the stress response, not so great when you're sitting at home at your computer with all these stress hormones going through you and your digestion isn't working and your immune system isn't working, you're prone to infections or maybe even autoimmune disease. So this is a problem, an overactive stress response that we're suffering from these days. The good news is we actually have a counteracting or counterbalancing system called the endocannabinoid system, Why is it called endocannabinoid? Because it was first discovered in relationship to THC from cannabis. And THC, it turned out the target of THC was a molecule called anandamide. So THC works on anandamide. Anandamide means bliss in Sanskrit because THC gets you high. Well, CBD, which is also from the cannabis plant, just a different part of a different breed of the cannabis plant, which is bred to be stocky and tall and to make rope. It's really the hemp plant. It has much, much less THC. A trace will not get you high, and there's actually, it has to be less than 0.3%. And the THC that most people are smoking can be up to 25%. So that's less than 3% and 25% of THC. So we're talking about CBD. CBD is or cannabidiol, is an phytocannabinoid, which means it's from plants, which interacts with our inner cannabinoid. It's pretty cool. We have a really sophisticated pharmacy inside us. So while we certainly have medications and they have their effects, they're mostly to suppress symptoms. Whereas if we can enroll and connect with our inner pharmacy, we're working with nature and we're actually correcting the things that are out of balance. So what do? We do know, by the way, that there are ways to de-stress, that we can meditate, this lifestyle, things like going in nature, exercising, eating right, and so on. But your brain's offline. And the bad news is your endocannabinoid system has been depleted by stress. So just when you need it, you don't have it. But we have a solution. The good news is taking CBD will actually raise the endocannabinoid system, interfaces with our own endocannabinoid system, and it comes back online. And it's the part of us that helps us to rest, restore, and heal. So it jumpstarts and supports our endocannabinoid system. We can start making good decisions. We can figure out our lifestyle changes, the things that we need to do. We're motivated. We have the energy to do what we need to do, which is exercise, eat properly, meditate, whatever it takes to make our endocannabinoid system active so we can begin to rest and restore and dissipate those excessive stress hormones. They're there when we need them. We can call them up when we need them, but they're not coursing through our body 24/7. So that's the stress response. That's the relaxation response, which is mediated by CBD. So it starts in the brain, affects the entire body. We can antidote it with CBD, which supports the endocannabinoid system, which is there to help us rest, restore, and heal. So I hope this helps you better understand your own stress response and what you can do to shift it over to the rest and restore response. There are a lot of things about the brain that I was unable to cover here, of course. So I'm offering my ebook called Reclaim Your Brain as a free download that explains the workings of the brain. And the last chapter has information about CBD. I'm also, I have my own line of organic CBD, lemon flavored, yummy, that I developed because I wanted it to be the way I wanted it. So very specifically for my readers and patients. And it's been, I've been getting very good reviews from it and it works. And I'm offering a 15% discount on my organic hemp oil extract product and using the code SNA15. It'll be on a postcard and it'll also be in chat. So I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank Saturday Night Alive for having me. And I wish you all a wonderful rest of your evening.
Beautiful. Thank you, Hyla. And I'm going to go briefly to her website. And it's her last name, CASS, CASSMD.com, CASSMD.com. And this is where you can order. And again, remember the discount code is SNA, Saturday Night Live, 15, SNA 15. And so definitely check it out. And that's very, very generous of her to provide that for us. And I'm looking to see if Jai Utal would be so kind as to turn your camera on, then I could put the camera on you. And we have got one of my absolute favorite musicians. Tonight's show, to be honest, we knew that, the doctor's sharing could be a little dry. So we thought, okay, we've got to get our very best musicians. And when Jai agreed to be on, it was like, all right, the show's going to rock. Speaking of rocking, I saw him play House of Blues in Hollywood 30 years ago, and I've been enjoying him ever since. He's truly been the voice of all of us as we grow up. Of course, he's a Grammy nominee, a kirtan artist, a multi-instrumentalist, and a very ecstatic vocalist. And he's going to take us on a journey. And then afterwards, we've got some really, he's got a new album and some exciting announcements to share with us. So Jai, thank you so much for being with us, and take it away, brother.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, everyone who co-creates this amazing, amazing Saturday Night Alive. I'm going to sing a chant to the Divine Mother, the Goddess, the Mother Earth, she who holds us, she who nourishes us, and she who takes us in the end. Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jai Jai Ma, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jai Jai Ma, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jaya Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma, Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jai Jai Ma, 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 Jai Jai Ma.
Let's all just breathe into that for a moment. This incredible ability that Jai has to connect us to the divine, whatever that means to each of us. There's a lot that we can get from Jai at his website. Is his name, Jai, J-A-I, Uttal, U-T-T-A-L.com, JaiUttal.com. And as I'm showing it to you, he's got a new album. He's also got an online concert coming up. The album is called Let Me Burn. And there it is. Jai, tell us a little bit about the album and the concert.
The album, was composed during the pandemic and recorded mostly remotely with very, very dear friends, David Pramal and Miten, Manoj, even the Chicago Children's Choir.
Well,
and I would say it's a contemplative album. It's an album, well, I consider it a medicine, a sonic medicine for what we've all been going through and have gone through and maybe are finished with, but maybe not. It's also an album of joy. It's an album of sadhana, of that burning practice that keeps us open. And it's an album of happiness and community. The album's going to be released next Wednesday on August 4th. And so we're doing a free online live stream concert to celebrate that. The album, Let Me Burn, was originally going to be released on my birthday, my 70th birthday, on June 12th. But, things move slowly. So it's a belated birthday party, album celebration.
We actually, your birthday happened to fall on a Saturday night this year. And so we actually all acknowledged you on your birthday.
Oh, you told me that.
Yeah,
yes, you told me that. That touched my heart so much.
Yeah, well, we love you. And I've just put into the chat box, there's several important links there. Let's all tune into the online concert and support Jai getting the album. And blessings to you, Jai. I know that it hasn't been the easiest time for you, and the way that you show up, so much love and so much devotion and so much spirit and so inspiration to us all.
Thank you so much. Thank you all, guys, so much, so very, very much. And thank you not just for tonight, but thank you for decades past and, God willing, decades in the future.
Looking forward to seeing how the next 70 years go with your brother.
Yeah, me too.
All right, thanks a lot. That's Jai Uttal. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful, beautiful man he is, huh? It was interesting, you talked about the different things, happiness, and just a little foreshadowing. Valerie and Johanna have an amazing video all about happiness that's coming up in this very show. But coming up now, it's time for the Global Peace Tribe announcements.
We are one. We are one. We are one. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. We are one. One love. We are one love. We are one love. Yeah, yeah. One love. One love. One love. One love. One love. One love. One love.
Here we are, one love, aren't we? And that's what's so beautiful about being part of the Global Peace Tribe. And each and every one of you are part of that. I want to invite those of you who are watching on Facebook, please, please come on in and join our Zoom room. That way you can interact directly with our amazing presenters, ask questions. We're going to have a very powerful question and answer period a little bit later on in the show. It's easy to join. Go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and join us. And I want to thank all of you who've donated. We're going to bring up, for the very first time, we're going to use a barcode as a way to donate to the Lakota Children's Fund, the Lakota Law Project Children's Fund. We're going to do that in a little bit. And to share with you a few more announcements, here's Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. And thank you so much for your donations. The green love that you give to us, we give back out to you and so many other people. So thank you for empowering so many people with your green love. And we'd love to invite you to promote Saturday Night Alive, because word of mouth is golden. So you sharing with your friends and family really helps spread the word of this good vibe show. We have an incredible promotional video trailer that I'm going to post in the chat room, and it's always in our emails that you can share with people or put on your Facebook or put out in emails. And that really helps us promote the shows. Also, if you'd love to sponsor our show, this is a great way of getting your message out there. I'm going to put information about how to find out about that in the chat room. And also, if you have someone you'd like to gift the subscription, you can pay it forward. And I'm going to put that link in the chat room as well. And if you'd like to even volunteer and help us, there's opportunities for that as well. So I'm going to post all that in the chat room, and all that information is in our emails that you get when you get a replay email on Monday, and then when we tell you what's coming up next week on Wednesday. And what we've been doing lately is having very special events for Global Peace Tribe. And we understand this is an inspirational virtual variety show. You get to see these amazing people for about 10 minutes, but you could be with them for a whole day. So we're taking that opportunity of all these people we've brought and doing special events for you. So our August special event is going to be with Neil Donald Walsh. He is going to do a program entitled, "If There Really Is a God, Why is the World in Such a Mess?" And isn't he one to really have that lifeline to spirit to help shed a light as to what we're going through? And what's really great about our workshops is this is an intimate experience with Neil. You're going to be able to ask your questions and speak with him directly. So, and he just wrote a book called The God Solution. So this is a new definition of God, and he's going to go much more into that information. The event is on August 17th from 6 to 9. It's Zoom. Early bird discounts are available. The information's in our email, and I'm going to post it in the chat room as well. So thank you so much. We have many more special events coming up. It's been really great to create those for you. And Scott, did you want to work with the QR code or?
Yeah, let's do the QR code. So this is something new that we're doing, and we really want to encourage all of you to give it a try. It's really simple, so you can easily contribute to the safeguarding of Native children. Just grab your camera. You're going to do it right now. So you grab your camera, you turn it onto camera, and you bring it up close to the barcode, and you'll see where it says open lakotalaw.org in Safari or whatever you have. And that you click on it. When you see where it says open, you click on it, and there is the donation button. And just go down a little bit. You can donate one time or even monthly. I donated $50 a little bit earlier when Deborah and I were checking it out. So I want to encourage everyone, please do this. Go in right now, go into the barcode, and let's donate. Whether it's, and you can put in any amount, $5, $500, it's all going to help these incredibly important projects. One of the most important things that we've raised money for. So please, please, please do that. I will bring up this barcode one more time during the show. So if you didn't catch it this time, get your cameras, your cell phones and your cameras ready the next time I bring it up. It's going to be really, we're wanting to know how it is for you too. Tell us, like, put in the chat box, hey, great idea, guys. Especially appreciations. We like appreciations the most. But give us your input as we're trying all these new things, okay? Speaking of new things, I want to talk a little bit about next week's show. And something rather magical and extraordinary has happened around it. One of our most popular shows that we've done was the show we did on near-death experiences a couple of months ago. We had a lot of people who loved it and they wanted more. So we are doing another show, and it's similar in that we're going to have people who have experienced near-death experiences on the show, but we are going to be going deeper into embracing death with compassion. Embracing death with compassion. That's what it's going to be all about. And I'm going to play for you a promotional video that we just hot off the press, just finished it late last night to tell you a little bit about this show.
What happens when we die? What awaits us on the other side? Can we consciously navigate our transition? How do we manage our grief for those we have lost? Will we see them again? These are some of the most challenging questions for us all. The good news is that there are answers. Join us for a very special edition of Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe on August 7th. Embracing death with compassion, connecting near-death experiences with science and spiritual wisdom. We have brought together a diversified group of luminaries, scientists, and near-death experiencers to share profound knowledge and secrets about death and dying, inspiring us to both live life more fully and embrace death tenderly and powerfully. Meet Danyan Brinkley, who was struck by lightning twice and has died 3 times. Danyan will be our guest on the early 5:30 p.m. show, only accessible to our Zoom participants. Make sure you register in advance to get this special access. During our main show, starting at 6 p.m., we will bring you an exclusive interview with the legendary author Raymond Moody, whose groundbreaking book, Life After Life, coined the term near-death experiences, NDEs. Also joining us will be beloved author Neil Donald Walsh, whose Conversations with God books have sold millions of copies in dozens of languages. Filmmaker and author Paul Perry will join us for a talk about shared death experiences. From a purely scientific perspective, we will be joined by Dr. Callum Cooper, who has explored life after death science and synchronicities. We will hear from others who have personally experienced NDEs. Nina Gree-Porter and Larissa Stowe will share original music and songs written especially from the heart for this sacred journey. Kaishi Chai is also returning with a unique dance piece inspired by embracing death. This show will feature special guest host Diana Maxwell, and as always, Scott Katamas will be co-hosting. Also stay on for our unique after show, during which we will open up things to our audience for some questions and shared experiences.
So that's next week's show. It's going to be powerful. Now, there's a lot of kismet, a lot of synchronicity that takes place with Deborah and myself and all the people in Saturday Night Live. And this morning, I have a dear friend who's staying with me, and we were aware that a mutual friend of ours got terminal cancer, and that he's close to the end. And she did a Zoom with him, and she brought the phone over, and I chatted with him a little bit, and I asked him if he was interested in doing an online memorial. And he said, God, I always wanted to, but I can barely function. So he said, no problem, we'll do that. So we are going to do the next day, Sunday, August 8th, an online memorial, a living memorial, and a celebration of life for Richard Chisholm. Richard's going to be with us, we're granting, and it's going to be a chance for him to say hello and goodbye to a lot of his friends. And Richard has chosen to use a holistic euthanasia cocktail 1 week later. It's legal, and so he's going to be doing that. As fate would have it, a few hours later, after I set this up with Richard, I was talking to Louisa Stowe, because she's going to be one of our musicians, and she said, you know, I have this friend of mine, and he's dying, he's going to do euthanasia. I wonder if you could do something with him, Scott. I said, oh my God, we just organized that this morning. Of course, she was also talking about Richard. So next weekend, we're going to be really looking at the challenge of death, but again, how to embrace it. Many of us have friends that are passing. All of us are going to pass, so it's an important topic, and I invite all of you to join us. And it's one of those shows, please invite people to the show. Please let them know about it and invite them, and that's how we continue to grow things. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate it. And now, speaking of great music, I'm going to turn it back over to Deborah to bring us back to Valerie.
Thank you, Scott. And yes, music always continues to bring us into our heart and into our soul. And that's definitely what Valerie is going to bring to us now. You saw her rocking the show at the very beginning, and we want to take the energy up again. And so great to have you back, Valerie. We just love your music. So there you go. Welcome.
Thank you. I do believe Johanna and I are going to do something new that we created for this and for you guys. You know, music is such an inspiration and something that can really shift our energy and make us feel healthy and make us feel energized. And Johanna, here she is. We're going to do something together. Let me give the mic to you.
Yeah, so Valerie and I love writing songs together, and this is how we spent a lot of the pandemic. So we tuned in a couple of days ago. I've been gone off grid playing in real life, you know, and I get home and she's like, hey, sister, we're on the show again together. And she says, do you want to co-create? And I'm like, there is no way I have time to do this before the show. So today I just call her on a whim around noon Pacific Standard Time. Hey, sister, send me some tracks. We'll see. Thinking it's definitely not going to happen, right? So she just sent me this track right now. We finished about an hour before the show, or actually really about 10 minutes ago if I'm thinking about my part. And so I'm really excited to share it. I did not know what was going to come out of body wellness, but I think it's called Take Care at this point. And that's what I've got. So, or We Shine or something like that.
Yeah.
You can actually write in the chat what you think we should call this song, because we're both writing songs for our awesome purposes of changing the world through sound. So you can help us by naming that song. All right, here we go. Oh, and Chad on the drums again.
We take care of ourselves, breathe in fresh air and exhale. When we take care of ourselves, breathe in fresh air and exhale. Ooh, oh, hey.
souls can be fed when we drop in to ourselves. The well of our soul, it can be found. As we shine, we're made of the same. Yes, we're made of the same stars, and we shine wherever we are, wherever we are. We shine from the inside, shine out across the unknown, reflect all the love we've shown. So shine out across the unknown, reflect all the light we've shown. We shine, we shine. We're made of the same. We're made of the same stars, and we shine wherever we are, wherever we are.
Oh, wow. Well, you're definitely getting people with ideas for the songs. Reach out for the stars, Stardust. We are the stars. We are the Stardust. So you got some good examples
He
there.
took notes.
It's in
We
the
might
chat.
have to steal some of those names for the lyrics. I mean, that sounds like you took a whole other meaning to some of this. I'm excited.
Well, Shay
Our
writes.
co-writes in the audience.
Shay writes, the guitar sounded like stars shining, right? So
I
there-
love that.
Oh, thank you, Shay.
So here's a reminder. I'm going to go to Valerie's website first. It's her name, ValerieRomanoffMusic.com. ValerieRomanoffMusic.com. And she's got so many things going on there. And the only person I know who might have a little bit more going is Johanna. Johanna also's got a lot going on. I tell you, I know they're besties, but they both got a lot going on. And it's Johanna's, also her name, Johanna Sings. She spells it Johanna. There's two N's in there. JohannaSings.com. But we are not done with these two lovely ladies. They are both going to be back with us. So thank you, ladies. Looking forward to your upcoming offerings. And to introduce our kind of keynote speaker, really, here's the lovely Jan Kaplan.
All right. Well, we're really excited to have Dr. Dale Bredesen here with us tonight. And he is an internationally recognized expert in the mechanisms of neurodegenerative diseases. And his career has been guided by a simple idea. That is Alzheimer's, as we know it, it's not just preventable, but reversible. So thanks to a dedicated pursuit of finding the science that makes this a reality, this idea has placed Dr. Bredesen at the vanguard of neurological research and led to the discoveries that today underlies the RECODE report. So perhaps he'll tell us a little bit about that. But I also wanted to tell you that he's a prodigious innovator in medicine with over 30 patents to his name. And notably, he put much of his findings and his research into the 2017 New York Times bestselling book, The End of Alzheimer's. So welcome, Dr. Dale Bredesen.
Thanks very much, Janice. I really appreciate it. I think that beautiful song from Valerie and Johanna really fits in beautifully. I think if everyone could take 30 seconds to think about all the people, the family members, the icons that we have all lost to dementia. This is a huge problem. It's recently been shown that Alzheimer's is now the third leading cause of death in the United States. So this is a huge problem. And just to put it in perspective, If you look at the pandemic that we've all been suffering through, over 600,000 people have now died from the pandemic in the United States. And for perspective, about 100 times that many currently living people will die from Alzheimer's disease. So as large as the COVID-19 pandemic is, and I have to say, I'm in the middle of having COVID-19 myself right now, have the Delta variant, of course, and just getting better from that, thankfully. The Alzheimer's disease is a much, much larger pandemic. So I want to show you three quick graphics, because this is a very exciting time. I trained way back in the 70s and 80s. And at the time, we had absolutely nothing to offer. And so we spent 30 years in the laboratory looking at what actually drives this process. Why is this such a common problem? And is there anything we can do to make this the rare disease that it should be? So let me just quickly share here. And as I say, three quick graphics to show you some interesting data here. So let me share those, and hopefully everyone can see this okay. So let me show this. Okay, so this is the semantics of success. Many people have heard about the drug aducanumab, also called Aduhelm, that was approved on June 7th by the FDA, and this is the gaffe that keeps on giving. Lots of people have criticized this. 3 of the expert panel actually quit over this. You can see here, if you develop Alzheimer's disease or mild cognitive impairment, which is the pre-Alzheimer's condition, you lose on average about 3.5 points on a 30-point scale per year. On the other hand, the best the trial showed with this aducanumab, that was the one that was just approved, and that was only 1 dose in 1 trial. Otherwise, it didn't do anything. It doesn't make you better. It doesn't stabilize you. But what it did in 1 trial at 1 dose, it slowed, as you can see here, slowed the decline by 22%. Now, in contrast, the trial that I want to show you today that we recently published, we actually see something quite different. We can actually take people and make them better, make their scores go up instead of going down. So this is the future. This is 21st century medicine. And quickly just show you here that if you look at the 30 years of research, what did we actually find? What we found is that Alzheimer's disease is quite different than we were told it was, that we were taught it was. It really is about signaling in your brain. And ultimately, what we call Alzheimer's disease is really an insufficiency. Just like you'd have an insufficiency of vitamin C and you'd get scurvy, in this case, it's a complex insufficiency. You have to have a whole set of things for a network in your brain to make and store memories. Now, if you have a certain supply and that's exceeded by the demand, either because you have ongoing inflammation or you have toxins on board or you don't have enough blood flow or oxygenation, on and on, then in fact, your brain will involute. You now will you will downsize your brain. And so in fact, what we call Alzheimer's disease is literally a protective downsizing response because you're not meeting your needs. So when we see patients now, we look to see all these different things, what's good enough, what's not good enough. And it boils down, interestingly, to 4 different groups. Things that cause inflammation, and that can be a leaky gut. It can be poor dentition. It can be chronic sinusitis. It can be metabolic syndrome, on and on. Any of those put you on the wrong side of this critical balance and increase your risk. Second thing is any toxins. And so these can be biotoxins. These can be inorganic toxins, things like mercury, things like air pollution. Those of us here in the California fires have to worry. We've now increased our risk for cognitive decline in the future. And then it can also be things like organic toxins, glyphosate. So be careful about eating non-organic things. Things like formaldehyde and benzene and toluene. All of these things contribute to increasing your risk for cognitive decline of Alzheimer's disease. And then the third thing is lowering your energetics. So if there's not enough blood flow, oxygenation, mitochondrial function, or ketones, all of these things turn out to be critical for keeping your brain working optimally. And then finally, trophic support. And that's 3 things. That is growth factors like nerve growth factor and brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It is hormones, estradiol, testosterone, pregnenolone, progesterone, DHEA, on and on, thyroid, all of those are critical. And then finally, nutrients, things like vitamin D. And there are many parallels between what increases risk for Alzheimer's and what increases risk for poor outcome from COVID-19. So, okay, so we've done a trial. We just recently made this public. It's on medRxiv, same public posting site that many of the COVID-19 findings are. Very excited to be working with three outstanding physicians, Dr. Kat Toops, Anne Hathaway, and Deborah Gordon, fantastic functional medicine physicians. And we've recently completed this and really striking results and unprecedented results. We have people improving, 76% of people improve their MoCA scores. That's the Montreal Cognitive Assessment. Their neurocognitive indices improved, and this is from CNS Vital Signs. It's an online, very sensitive test for your cognition. Cognitive subtests, so verbal memory, executive function, psychomotor speed, cognitive flexibility, and others. Improvement, interestingly, from their partners who said, okay, yeah, I could notice improvements in various things. So that was another thing. It wasn't something where the improvement was so small that people couldn't notice it. The spouses, the partners clearly noticed improvements. And then interestingly, in their brain training, all of them improved in their brain training scores. And then interestingly, their MRIs also improved. So you could actually see the improvement in their MRIs. So their gray matter volume, and normally gray matter volume goes down slightly as you age. If you have Alzheimer's, it goes down much faster. In this case, it actually went up. So these people actually were going against aging. Their brains were getting slightly bigger. And then their hippocampal volume, critical area for Alzheimer's disease, was slowly declining less than normal. So normals have a slight bit of decline. These people actually did better than the normals. So very, very exciting time. For the first time, we're seeing people actually improve. And I think the critical take-home message here, and one of the reasons I'm so enthusiastic about this is Alzheimer's disease is now optional. So believe it or not, and I know that sounds crazy, if you get on appropriate prevention, and we recommend anyone who's 45 years of age or over, get on appropriate prevention or get on the earliest possible reversal. Those people all do very well. As you go farther and farther along, it's harder and harder. And one of the biggest problems we have is that the doctors tend to wait. They say, oh, you're not that bad. What's called mild cognitive impairment is just like saying someone has mildly metastatic cancer. This is a late stage of Alzheimer's disease. It's actually the third of 4 stages. It shouldn't be called mild cognitive impairment. It should be called advanced stage Alzheimer's. So please get in early, get in prevention. And in fact, we can make this a truly rare disease, which is exactly what it should be. So thanks very much. Thanks to Scott. Thanks to Janice. Thanks to everyone for all the great things you're doing. I think the future in this area is really bright, and people have to kind of get used to this new normal of don't wait, get on prevention, get on early reversal. Let's all make this a truly rare disease. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bredesen. And before you go real quickly, I would like to just show people a couple of things on your website. Take a look at the books that you have available, but this is also his website. And so you go to apollohealthco.com/Dr. He spells it Bredesen, Dr. Dale Bredesen. And I also want to take them to Amazon. Wow, you got a lot of books. Where would you suggest people starting? If they were going to start with one of your books, which one would you suggest, Dr. Bredesen?
Right, great point. So the first one is The End of Alzheimer's, as you said, came out in 2017. It's now available in 32 languages. That gives you the basics, that for the first time we could actually reverse cognitive decline. Then that's the one that's the tan one. Then the one that is the orange and blue is more detail. People said, well, we want more detail on where do we go, what URLs, it's all that sort of stuff. So that's the second one, which has more of the detail. And the one that's coming out in a couple of weeks is The First Survivors of Alzheimer's. And so 7 incredible stories from people who were all told, you've got early Alzheimer's, you're going to die, there's absolutely nothing to be done. All 7 of them have done very well. We now have hundreds and hundreds of people on this program. and who've done very, very well. And we've published over 100, including the trial that I just showed you. And so these 7 people just write these heartfelt, wonderful stories about what it was like then to get back and to get back with their families and then to interact and to remember and to do the things that they could not do for a while. So it's really, it's something that'll bring a tear to many eyes.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Bredesen, for the lives that you are saving, for the incredible work you're doing. And also, even with COVID coming on to our show tonight, it's really,
let's all make this a rare disease. We can do it. We can make dementia truly a rare condition.
God bless you. And a big thanks to Lori Grace. I'm going to just put her on, not to say anything, but just want to thank Lori, who introduced us. And she kept saying, you got to get Dr. Bredesen. You got to get Dr. Bredesen. So thank you for that, Lori. And you're right. He was really very, very powerful. So thank you very much, sir. All right, well, there's a lot to digest, and I can't think of a better digestive aid than music from Johanna. A chance for us to kind of drop in and take in all the wisdom that we're hearing. And so Johanna is going to bless us with another song. You're up, you're on. Spotlight's on you, and you're muted. And you're getting things together. Okay. we will get back to Johanna in a moment. While we're waiting for Johanna to do whatever it is Johanna is doing, I just want to remind everybody to please donate to tonight's fundraising event, the Lakota Law Children's Program. Again, this was something that Lori Grace suggested to us that we do. And we're going to show a little bit later a movie that Lori's sister Wendy helped to fund, or I think she funded it entirely, all about the children. And this is really important. So I want to thank all of you who have donated. Thank you very, very much for that. And for those of you that haven't yet, again, we've got our QR code. But here it is. There's that beautiful voice.
Oh yeah, I am unmuted. Yay.
Hey, are you about ready, Johanna?
I am absolutely ready.
Okay, well, I'll give you a chance to remind people about donating to the Lakota Law Children's Fund. So.
Yes, and thank you so much for that service. It's so important to honor where these lands truly belong and where we're standing on this sacred land. This next song is also from the east, actually. Jayu Tal was singing to Durga, and Durga and Kali in Hinduism are these goddesses that my teacher says slash through illusion so we can find the truth, right? And so I think that's a powerful chant, given that we're talking about finding our healthy selves. And in order to find our healthy selves, we often have to let go of something. So what better way to let go of something than to sing to Kali, the destroyer, right? So destroying those bad habits and things that aren't serving our healthy selves. We'll sing Chamundaye, Kalima, 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 Kalima. Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche Namaha. Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche Namaha. Chamundaye Chamundaye Kalima, 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 Chamundaye, Kalima, Kalima, Kalima. Kalima, Chamundaye, Kalima, 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 Chamundaye,
Kalima, Kalima, Shamunaya, Shamunaya, Kalima, 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 Shamunaya, Kalima, 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 Shamunaya, Kalima, 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 Kalima. Om Kali, Durga Devi Namo Namaha. Om Mata, Om Kali, Durga Devi Namo Namaha. Om Mata, Om Kali, Durga Devi Namo Namaha. Om Mata, Om Kali, Durga Devi Namo Namaha. Shakti Kundalini, Jagatambe Mata. Shakti Kundalini, Jagatambe Mata. Shakti Kundalini, Jagatambe Mata.
We like to ask the Divine Mother to take anything that's not serving us. Shakti Kundalini, moving it through our energy channels.
Kalima, 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 Jai Kalima, Chamundaye Kalima, Chamundaye Kalima, Chamundaye Kalima, Chamundaye, Chamundaye Kalima, Chamundaye Kalima, Chamundaye Kalima, Chamundaye Kalima. Om Aim Reem Klim Chamundaye Vijay Namaha. 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 Om Aim Reem Kalima. Oh, Kalima. Kalima, mama, yeah. Om Mata Kali, Durga Devi Namo Namaha. Om Mata Kali, Shakti Kundalini, Jagatambe Mata. Shakti Kundalini, Jagatambe Mata. Shakti Kundalini.
Shakti Kundalini Shanambe Rata
Let this chanting rewire our brains and heal us from all dementias. Thank you so much for joining in this practice. These chants, whether we know what we're doing or not, are helpful. So thanks for being open.
God bless you. Thank you, Johanna. And we have one more Johanna and Valerie surprise coming up in a few minutes. But to introduce our next wonderful speaker, here's Janice.
Hey, thank you, Scott. Deborah Poneman is our next speaker, and as founder and CEO of Yes to Success Seminars and co-founder of the highly acclaimed Ageless Seminars, Deborah's workshops, keynotes, and online events have transformed the lives of hundreds of thousands around the world by providing a step-by-step system to create both profound outer success and as well as unshakable inner happiness and radiant health. And so before the internet made worldwide communication instantaneous, her seminars were being taught on four continents. And using the knowledge gained from Deborah's Yes to Success seminars, her graduates went on to become mega successful entrepreneurs, New York Times bestselling authors, millionaires, billionaires, probably trillionaires, and using the knowledge they gained on brain and body health, they turned around chronic disease and began living long and vibrantly healthy lives. So welcome, Deborah. We're so happy to have you here.
Well, thank you, Janice, and Jay Kali Ma. What a great way to go into my talk. Wow. I mean, thank you for inviting me. It's just an honor, and what a gorgeous night, as it is every week. The speakers, the music. Whew. And after 40 years of teaching success, people might be wondering why I'm teaching ageless, but I have to say it's been very exciting to start teaching secrets to slowing and reversing the aging of your brain and your body, because I am going to be 90 eventually. But right now, I'm actually going to be 70. So Jai and I, hey, we're soul twins. We're both celebrating our 70th birthdays. So, and because I am hitting the big 7-0 in a couple months, I have a vested interest in keeping my brain and my body young. And let me add that I am not an MD, nor do I have a degree in anything related to health, but I teach my ageless courses with a Harvard-trained, multi-time, peer-reviewed, published body-mind researcher, Ronnie Newman. I'm just the pretty face. But in the meantime, I want to say that those things that make us ageless are the same things that give us abundant good health. So I'm going to pack as many tips, I'm going to talk really fast, as I can during my 10 minutes of fame, so that all of you can have unlimited energy, clear thinking, a great memory, and radiant health. And I'm going to give you one tip in 3 categories that you would expect, like diet, and one that you probably never thought of. So first, diet. If you only do one thing in the area of diet for better health and longevity, I would say it is, drum roll please, stop eating white refined sugar, as it is the worst offender when it comes to brain inflammation. And inflammation, as Dr. Bredesen pointed out, is the main cause of your brain atrophying and aging too fast. White refined sugar and foods that act the same in your system, like refined carbs, white bread, white pasta, it's causing the inflammation that slows down communication between the neurons. And this is what causes you to feel foggy and dull and forgetful and like, why did I just come in this room? Furthermore, brain inflammation is serious because it means nerve cells in the brain are dying. So it does, as Dr. Bredesen pointed out, it plays a significant role in Alzheimer's as well as other degenerative diseases like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, arthritis, osteoporosis, even some cancer. So start using sugar substitutes like stevia or date sugar or monk fruit, not Splenda or NutraSweet, just by the way, which are just as bad, if not worse, actually, in causing brain inflammations. Okay, so that's your diet tip. In the realm of exercise, there is now compelling research that's concluded that there are 2 exercise methods that can slow down the aging process better than others by preventing cellular aging. And you might be really surprised what they are. And no, one is not yoga. One is endurance training, and the other is, are you ready for this? High intensity interval training, or HIIT, right? And as you can guess, if you don't know what it is, it's doing very high intensity bursts of cardio exercise followed by equal or longer periods of rest. So think 30 seconds of sprinting, followed by a minute of walking or slow jogging. And in a study published in the European Heart Journal, they examined the effects of different types of exercise over a 6-month period. They had like 125 participants, and the participants were told to perform one of, there were a whole bunch of different exercises that they could choose from. And at the end of the 6 months, researchers found that high intensity interval training actually increase telomere activity. And if you don't know what telomeres are, they're these nucleotide sequences found at the end of our chromosomes. And when they shorten, aging occurs. But high intensity interval training and endurance training were the only 2 modalities found to increase telomere length, thus producing an anti-aging effect. Okay, on to sleep. We all know we need to get enough sleep if we want to be healthy, if we want to turn back the hands of time. But what most people don't know is that when you sleep is equally or more important than how long you sleep. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, in our sleep, we produce human growth hormone, the anti-aging hormone referred to as HGH. HGH is involved in brain function and mood, in aerobic endurance, immunity, and it also increases your skin elasticity. It stimulates fat burning, so many things, increases muscle mass, bone density. The good news is that we can increase our production of human growth hormone by a factor of 5-fold, depending on when we go to sleep. So if I asked you, is it better to get 7 hours of sleep between 10 and 5 or 9 hours between midnight and 9? Most people would say 9 hours, but the answer is 7 hours between 10 and 5 because our circadian rhythms and our bodies were still in tune with the sun going down, and HGH production begins to at 10, peaks at midnight, and then declines until 2 o'clock. So there's almost none left after 2 o'clock. So if you go to sleep at midnight, you've missed peak HGH production. Go to bed at 10 and you're on the money. Okay. So, and finally, what do you think science is saying is one of the most insidious causes of aging of the skin and damage to the eyes? Can anybody guess? I don't know if people can put in the chat. Well, I'll tell you. It is the blue light that is emitting from our computer screens and our tablets and our phones. This is in addition to EMFs, which is a topic for another day. But the light that comes off your screens is called blue light, and it's known to have long-term health effects. Even the health letter of the Harvard Medical School last July said that blue light can affect your sleep and cause disease, including cancer and diabetes and heart disease, even obesity. And studies also say that continued exposure to blue light over time could lead to damaged retinal cells and eventually to vision loss, and also age-related macular degeneration. And blue light exposure is of particular concern for kids because especially our really little ones, because their developing eyes absorb more blue light than adults, putting them at greater risk for long-term damage to their eyes. In fact, researchers are now saying that macular degeneration and blindness is going to be the biggest health crisis when our kids who spend hours a day exposing their eyes to blue light because they're learning online, when they become adults. That's scary. But, and by the way, some of the other potential diseases are headaches, suppression of melatonin, the sleep hormone. And again, according to the Harvard Health Newsletter, things like heart disease. And I told you that already, but wearing blue light blocking glasses, voila, my blue light blocking glasses, is one of the ways to protect your eyes from blue light. But for your children who probably will not wear blue light blocking glasses, you want to get a blue light blocking screen on your computer. I'm like so fanatic about my eyes. I have the screen and the glasses. But here's the last thing I'm going to say, and that is blue light has also been shown to age the skin. So believe it or not, you will want to put on, are you ready for this? Sunscreen with an SPF of at least 40 if you're in front of the computer for long stretches of time. I have a quote for you, and this is from dermatologist Dr. Stephanie Williams. She was quoted in Bazaar magazine, and she said, "We are now seeing increasing data on the potential long-term harm of blue light on our skin. Our digital devices are swiftly being labeled the silent agers of our generation." And finally, Dr. Murad, you know, the dermatologist who has his own skincare brand, said in the same article in Bazaar magazine, quote, "Spending 4 8-hour days in front of a computer exposes you to the same amount of damage to your skin as 20 minutes lying in the sun at midday at the equator." So get yourself and your kids blue light blocker screens. And that is our good news for the day. We can do something about it. Okay. So Scott and Deb and Janice and Lori and everyone listening, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And thanks so much for listening.
Deborah, you are amazing. And I'm having two experiences. One, what a fantastic presenter you are. And I can't believe we haven't had you on the show already, and I want you to come back right away. You've completely bummed me out with some of the news. I guess no more donuts at 2 o'clock in the morning. No, I don't really do that. I do have my blue blocker screen. Although I can't use it when I'm doing the show because it messes with the microphone. But I do have my blue blocker screen. But
There
come on.
are that you could get that you can now like put on and you don't even know they're on your computer. It's crazy.
It's pretty amazing. And you can get them easily. So, Deborah, you have, first of all, you're awesome. Really, really, really special. And I want to show people how to get a hold of you because you have a lot to offer. So I'm going to go to your website, and when I go there, it's easy to remember. It's a great website title, yes-to-success.com. yes-to-success.com. Now, everybody go there right now and put in your email address and your name so that you can get instant access to her 5 secrets to a life of true success. I mean, I want to look like that when I'm 70 years old, and I want to have that energy and I want to have everything she's got going. So go to yes-to-success.com, and it's really easy. Just do what I just did. See that? Put in my name, my email address, and I'm now going to get instant access to the secrets of anti-aging for your body.
Yeah, no, it says get below. It says you're getting the 5 secrets to life of true success. Just remember originally, I mean, I still teach my success seminars, but in your chat, you have also a link for the free book called Ageless, which I gave you 4 secrets today. I give you 5 more in the ancient and modern secrets for lifelong radiance. Some of them are the things that Dr. President talked about. So, but that's yes-to-success.com/ageless book. And that is a great ebook, 5 more anti-aging secrets.
Deborah, thank you so much. You rock. You absolutely rock.
Thank you. And so do you. I loved being on this time. I'm still rocking from Joanna's Kali Ma.
Okay, well, so stick around because wait till you see what we got next. Because what we've got next is this incredible video that Johanna and Valerie did, and I am not exaggerating. This video is amazing, as you're all about to see. And it's a quick story about it. I was working with a client, and it was a client who almost never gets upset. And while we were talking, he discovered that somebody had taken advantage of him financially. Literally, as I'm working with him, he's like discovering this and getting more and more angry and more bummed. And because it was somebody he had trusted, it was like a whole thing. And I'm watching his whole energy just collapse into anger and frustration. So he said, I got to get out of this, because he and I had to have a conversation about something. He said, how do I shake it? I said, watch this video. And I put the video that I'm about to play for you all on, and literally his whole energy changed in about 30 seconds. This video is better than coffee. Anytime you want to pick up your energy, I encourage everybody to watch Happiness.
Superpower. Superpower. I choose happiness and happiness chooses me. I live in happiness for all the world to see. Superpower in the palm of your hand. Superpower. It's there on demand. Superpower where the sun
That's just so much fun. So much fun. God bless you, gals. Thank you so much. Just amazing.
Woo!
Oh my gosh. Wow. All right. We have one more presenter and then a really powerful after show. So listen, you're all going to want to stick around for the after show because Lori Grace is going to answer questions. We're going to replay the Wiki Poly Cove. We are going to show the video about the Lakota children and maybe even another extra special treat that I'm working on. So stick around. But to introduce our final presenter, here's Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. And what a great show again, as always. It always blows me away, even though I'm part of creating it. Appreciate all the presenters and all the important information that we don't get normally. So it's been great. And we have one more expert for you tonight, Nafisa Parpia. With compassionate listening and cutting-edge laboratory tests, she creates treatment plans that are highly individualistic for healing. And she helps her patients find balance between external factors and their bodies, internal mechanisms, and their mind. She's a sought-after speaker, and she spent the last decade treating patients with complex chronic illness from all over the world. And she uses biological medicine approach. She works as a detective to discover and ultimately remove the underlying causes. So we have an incredible video for you now with Dr. Nafisa Parpia.
And I want to say Jan Kaplan, the lovely Jan Kaplan, did the interview with her. So thank you, Jan. And you're going to see Jan on the video also.
Naturopathic doctor. And we'd like to know a little bit about what that is and what the focus of your practice is about.
First of all, thank you for having me here today. It's such an honor, such a pleasure. So as a naturopathic doctor, I focus on people who have complex chronic illness and as well those who want to optimize their health. So your question about what does a naturopathic doctor do? Well, we take the whole person into account. So we're looking at who they are as a human being. We're looking at their inner biochemistry, their emotional patterning, mental patterning, genes, hormones, the gut, the whole thing, actually, the whole being. And we're looking for the root cause of issues. So not trying to only manage symptoms, but to actually understand the depths of what is going on in the whole person and treat that.
Right. Well, you had mentioned earlier that there are two kinds of patients, optimizers and something else. So maybe differentiate that for us, if you could.
So a large majority of my patients, they have complex chronic illness, and the practice I'm at is Gordon Medical Associates. People come from all over the country to see us for complex chronic illness. So this group of patients have typically tick-borne illness like Lyme disease or mold, mycotoxin illness, autoimmune conditions, gastrointestinal disorders, brain fog, cognitive decline, all of these symptoms all at the same time. So this is a large majority of my patient population. The other group of people I have are those who are optimizers. They're already pretty healthy. They don't have any major issues, but they're beginning to notice things in their system which are changing. For example, as they're aging, they're getting into their 40s or 50s or 60s, they're noticing, I'm not as sharp as I was before, or I've got some minor gastrointestinal issues, and I'm falling asleep in my meetings a little bit. So I want to nip this in the bud. So I have a good number of these people as well in my practice.
Yeah. So with that in mind, and you also in previous discussion, we talked about detoxing. And so what does detoxing mean to you, and how does it work with your chronically ill patients and your optimizers? How are you, maybe you can explain that.
Jan, that's such a good question. So no matter what category my patients fall in, I'm always focusing on bringing inflammation down in their body. So we always want to start with having organic food, a plant-based diet with moderate amounts of meat. If you're eating meat, if that meat is grass-fed and organic, then that's ideal. Exercise, highly important. Sleep hygiene, healthy emotional relationships. All of this helps to optimize immune vitality. That's what I'm looking for. Now, in my patients who are already quite healthy, a lot of times food and exercise can be their medicine. And I'm just using that along with therapies to help modulate their immune system or heal their gut if I need to tweak little parts of their system. Now, what I'm noticing these days, though, is that patients who are optimizers, they're more inflamed than they were in the past. And so to bring this back around to your question about detoxification, people are more inflamed now than they were in the past. Even healthy people, we're just seeing this sort of low-grade inflammation in people's systems, and that has to do with the environment. And our bodies were not designed, we didn't evolve to handle this toxic burden on the planet or in our bodies. And so I'm seeing that under the surface in both populations of my patients, whether they're sick or whether they're optimizers with inflammation, there's a high toxic burden in the bodies of my patients. I'm talking about metals, things like mercury, lead, arsenic, aluminum. I'm seeing these just floating around in the blood or in a urine sample. I'm seeing these higher in people now since the fires in California. And when I have people do a fish fast, I'm seeing mercury decrease significantly in their blood, though often it's still there. So we're dealing with things in the environment. Glyphosate is another big one. We're dealing with things that we didn't deal with in the past 15 years. Our bodies didn't have to handle this. Now suddenly they do. So
what would be like the first thing that you would, I mean, and you're talking about your healthy patients, you're seeing more of this. So what would be the first thing that you would do to start them either detoxing or whatever you'd like to call it?
Yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is assess them with labs to look for metals, glyphosate, different environmental chemicals. Seeing these high in people. I'm also going to look at their genes of detoxification. I do like to look at a whole genetic panel for people as well. And I'm never going to make a diagnosis based on genes. We don't do that, but I'm going to marry the genetic information with what I'm finding biochemically in their bodies. And then we're going to begin to detoxify people. A lot of times I have to support their mineral content, their amino acid content before I can even start to detoxify them, because the amino acids and the minerals are, and certain vitamins as well, are cofactors for detoxification. We need those in order to make the detox, the natural detox system actually work efficiently, work optimally. Now, a lot of people may have gut issues as well. And do I want to detox somebody when they have gut issues? Not necessarily, because toxins have to come through the gut.
So would you say it's really important to be at a certain level of health before you actually start the detox process?
Exactly that, Jen. Exactly. So I call this, I call it pre-tox. So I'm supporting the patient to be ready to handle detoxification therapies. And then once that support is in place, and I've determined if they're ready via labs and via their clinical history, then I'm going to start the detoxification process.
Gotcha. So as a naturopath, you're going to assess, you're going to see it through, you're going to pre-tox, you're going to detox. And then is there a post-tox where you're sort of, making sure that they're doing the right thing? Or how do you do that?
Actually, before I go into post-tox, an important part to address is infections. So, of course, my patients who have chronic illness, I'm always assessing for a load of infections, which I find inevitably. I can look at people's, now use tests looking at their T cell response to see what infections are active now or not. And in my patients who are well, it's very often that there are subclinical infections. Subclinical means they're not necessarily noticing that overtly that they have an infection. Often there are infections underneath the jaw that aren't picked up on an X-ray, but are picked up on, it's called an ICAT, it's a CT scan of the jaw. So underneath root canals, a lot of people have heard about this, right? Oh, root canals can be hard on our system. Well, there's truth to that, and we can pick that up by using a CT scan of the jaw. They might have a chronic load of infection in the sinuses, and I'm finding that very, very often. And so, of course, dysbiosis in the gut is very, very common. Dysbiosis means a higher load of pathogenic bacteria than beneficial bacteria in the gut, or I might put parasites in there. And so I'm looking at, first of all, detoxifying the body. Then I'm going to start to kill off infections as appropriate for whether the person is sick or they're an optimizer. And once that process is complete, then I'm looking at rebuilding the system. Absolutely. So using therapies to rebuild their mitochondria, rebuild cell-to-cell communication. So towards the end, it's full circle, back to diet and lifestyle and healthy emotions, healthy spirit, all the way along. It's that, but at the end, that's my goal. That's all they have to do.
All right. Yeah. So just to wrap it up, what would you say? I mean, I know we're talking mind, body, spirit. It's really large. Exercise, good cleanliness. I mean, what combination of a few things would you say are just the most important things for?
Yes. So I'd say meditation practices, breathing practices, a yoga practice is very helpful. Tai Chi, the kind of exercise that involves breathing, that involves a deep dive into the spirit, is very helpful. Absolutely. And chanting, maybe indigenous healing chants, or whatever chanting comes from your own practice, or maybe you don't have a practice, but it's time to find one. No matter what you believe in or don't believe in, at least an internal practice, I think is very important. That's a practice of spirit I'm talking about. Exercise, of course, but I do like to marry exercise with spirit practice. I see that's a really beautiful healing for people.
Good medicine. Well, thank you for your good medicine. All of our exchanges have been so positive and so uplifting, and I'm sure you're an inspiration to your patients as they are to you.
Thank you. Yes, my patients are such an inspiration to me. And it's just so wonderful to be here with you on Saturday Night Alive. Thank you, Jan.
Great. Well, thank you. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you.
Great job, Jan. Really good job interviewing her.
Oh, thank you.
Was there anything that really stood out for you that you want to kind of riff on for our wonderful viewers that are still with us?
Well, the spiritual aspects of our lives are so important. And, it's just really important for us to just find that balance. And also the beauty of these medical experts. I think a lot of us might have lost confidence or faith in our authority figures, politics, and, we're always seeking an alternative, right? And this is a real sort of cultural creative crowd. And so, but I do believe that there's some really amazing doctors out there, and Western medicine with all of its amazing diagnostics those are like miracles, for people to get the right information, and not to always kind of diagnose. I've bought every preventative medicine or preventative health book there is. And so I do appreciate the knowledge that these experts have and are so willing and so gracious to share with us. So that's.
I'm going to her website, and tell us a little bit about this offer that she's providing us.
Well, so this is actually a summit. They did a mycotoxin summit with all these people, all these doctors and people that you see. So Eric Gordon is her partner, and she's part of Gordon Medical in Marin County. And I believe that this is you can get a lifetime pass, even though the summit is over, I think until the end of the year. You can actually buy the pass and then go and tap into all the knowledge that these doctors have about mycotoxins. And so a lot of people have Lyme disease, and have chronic illnesses that, they're looking for help for. So, they want you to recover from your chronic illnesses, and they've got a lot of information there to share.
Beautiful. So it's a pretty long website. It's a little bit too long for me to read. So I'm putting it in the Zoom room. Another reminder, where all of you watching on Facebook want to come into our Zoom room, you can still do that by going to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com. All right, we are done with the main show, but stick around because Lori Grace is going to answer any questions that have come up. And she's a brilliant teacher. We're then going to replay the Ricky Polikov video, which is filled with information. It's a very powerful slideshow. And we have a little special treat that we're going to add. And then I am going to close by showing the Lakota children's video. It's very, very touching and very powerful. So now is a good time for people to prepare any questions that they might have for Lori. And this is, as we do the after show, I'm stopping the recording. So when we'll go into our YouTube, will just be our pre-show. Today's pre-show with Ricky Polikov and this after show. This video up to this point. But now this is just for you guys. It's just for those of you watching on Facebook and those of you in our Zoom room. So if there are any questions for Lori, now's a really good time to pop them in. And I do notice that there are some questions that have come in. Lori, I'm going to bring you on camera. So here is our sponsor and one of my oldest and dearest friends, Lori Grace. Lori, thank you so much for putting this show together, sponsoring it, and bringing on Dale Bredesen. You kept saying Dale Bredesen and Debbie Prodman. My God, she was a fantastic presenter. So thank you so much. So we have some questions. Happy Day is the name of the person, and they ask, can you comment on the recent theory that Alzheimer's is caused in part by a particular bacteria, specifically the primary microtubule dysfunction caused by C. diff? Thank you. Is that something you can address, Lori?
See, I want to hear the word better. I didn't hear it well. C. something. C. diff? Yeah, there are some people who get a form of dementia from C. diff. That's true. And, C. diff is not the easiest thing to heal. Often it's recommended antibiotics, and those are valuable, but it can come back, has to be well monitored. And you'll also want to work with a doctor who can find other kinds of bacteria to populate your intestines that can help fight C. diff.
Beautiful. Okay. Terry writes, this is from Terry Russo, who's one of our favorite ongoing participants. And she writes, if people ate a healthy, more plant-based diet that promoted a good microbiome, as well as mindfulness activities, they'd be less likely to have chronic illness or contract infectious disease. Thank you, Terry. That's absolutely right. Lori, I know you talk a lot about the value of aerobic exercise. And even though you mentioned that before, I'd love for you to riff a little bit more on that. What do you recommend, especially for people as we're getting older? I'm 65. I know that I notice I have a little bit of resistance to aerobic exercise. What do you suggest as a way for someone like myself to kind of rev back up, and why is that so important?
Well, if you haven't, or whoever hasn't been in the habit of doing exercise, you've got to create it so it's joyful. So I would start first with taking a beautiful walk in nature, or ideally nature, or wherever you are, a park if you're in the city, and then gradually let that walk become faster. You can also increase the strength on the exercise on your muscles by carrying light weights in your hands, and that's one way to do it. And there are definitely more than that. There's definitely more than that that's possible. I could keep on going on.
There's some other questions. So Haliba asks, for a question for Lori, are there any holistic manuals written for those with early dementia diagnosis? As a family member, I appreciate all the information I get to help me to help my love. But I hope there is a more, perhaps even artistic or small or large book for him to leaf through with the warning signals, written coaching for him, etc. So any recommendations you could make there, Lori?
Yes, I highly recommend Dale Bredesen's book, The End of Alzheimer's. Let's see, I'll try to, I don't know how to put it up. So
I'll pull it up
it
from
was one of the things that he had there.
Yeah.
He had The End of Alzheimer's program, the first protocol to enhance cognition and reverse decline at any age. And then he has a group of people who work with him, ranging from nutritionists to physicians, who work and help people integrate their program. I've also done that kind of, guidance myself with people. And it is a wonderful journey that can yield wonderful results that really should ideally start 45 or age 50. And I discovered that I had the APOE4 gene. I recommend that everybody get their APOE status checked, which Dale Bredesen also recommends. And that became my journey that took me into, really enhancing and watching my cardiovascular fitness, because the APOE gene, the APOE4 gene, can greatly affect a cardiovascular health or disease. So depending on what happens.
So while you were talking, Lori, I did pull up this, and you can get it on Audible or as a regular book.
Right, you can. Yes, on Amazon. Mm-hmm.
Right. So this is where it is, and I put the link into the chat box. Again, always a good idea to come into the Zoom room, everybody, so you can get all this stuff easily. So there you go. Somebody had asked about the blue screen that I got. And honestly, I got it off Amazon. It was inexpensive, and it just slips over. I've got a very large, got one of the large Mack computers, so I got a large size here. But I put it on. I'm not putting it on right now because it messes with the microphone.
So Scott, there's other things you can do. One thing that she didn't mention, she mentioned the effects on your skin. It's even more dramatic, the effects on your eyes of blue light and on the amount of melatonin that you have before you go to sleep. The blue light really kills melatonin, but it's because we weren't supposed to be up doing computers at night. I mean, when darkness came in the ancient days, we weren't on light and we weren't on computers. So what's true is, so the blue light from our computers hurts our melatonin and hurts our sleep. Also, smartphones, same thing. watching movies on a laser, a laser television set. But here's the other thing. In addition to your blue screen, you want to be taking lutein and astaxanthin, preferably, and also zeaxanthin, which comes from marigolds, because all of these, this blue light or driving without sunglasses contributes to the formation of cataracts. And also, blue light contributes to the onslaught of macular degeneration, which is becoming quite epidemic in our culture. And macular degeneration, untreated and even treated, can lead to blindness.
Wow.
As we get, quite old,
All right, well, Lori, I know that you're going to be leading a workshop on August 11th.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, this is actually, remember in the old days, we'd get together with other human beings and would sit on chairs and we would listen to someone.
That's right.
Well, we're going back to that. And Lori has a wonderful facility. I actually have taught there. I worked there, called the Sunrise Center. It's in Corte Madera. That's in Marin County. So for anybody in the San Francisco Bay Area, this is an event you can actually go to, a live event. And Lori, tell us a little bit about it. I've got the screen.
Well, what I really like is I like the intimacy of talking to a smaller group of people. I like answering questions at length and looking at how we can integrate things in our body. I so long and love depth. So I actually prefer small groups of people and prefer being able to give them lots of my attention. So I've even expanded that with this one, in that if you have a question, and you can see I've addressed a few questions right here, I invite you to write them and email Jacinta, who's collecting them for me at Sunrise Center. And if I haven't already got the knowledge to be able to answer it well, I will research it with joy and come back.
Fantastic. And are you going to provide a video of the August 11th presentation? Do we know yet?
I'm going to possibly present the video that I think is very useful of Dale Bredesen talking, where you actually, it depends on how much time we have, where you actually get to see people who've recovered from Alzheimer's talking about their journey. And he's about to come out with a book, so that's going to be quite amazing.
All right, and the last thing, Lori, is
there's one thing to add to that. This is my first presentation after being in the COVID situation for a long time. And I also help manage a retreat center at Haleakua in Maui, Hawaii. So I've got many things, but I'm going to be doing a group also on Zoom, where there will be people present and people on Zoom as well.
There is another question.
That's a little bit later. I'm trying this out first.
A question for Jan, if you still hear us, and that is there a coupon code for the summit to help with the cost? I think that there was. So if you get that code, Jan, if you hear me, let me know. Otherwise, I will look for it in my emails, because people send me these things on email. And then, Laura, there actually is another question for you. Could you repeat what the vitamins and supplements again are for eye health? Somebody who has cataracts.
You want to get some vitamin A. It also comes out with astaxanthin. You want to direct your attention towards something called carotenoids. Astaxanthin is actually an orange color, okay? Then there's also lutein derived from spinach. You actually find lutein affecting the color of our macula, and it defends us against blue light, okay? So lutein, Lutein, and astaxanthin ASTHANXATHIN.
Beautiful, thank you.
And there are certain products that I happen to like more than others, and I'll have some of those displayed at the evening.
One of our readers, or one of our Zoom people, says that Windows 10 for Android users includes an adjustment to block blue light. So that's pretty cool. And this is
Yes, that's true. And my smartphone has it as well. It's a yellowish color. Yeah, but you want to support with nutrients as well. Blocking some light isn't enough. And some people spend a lot of time on their screens. And let's remember that sitting is now nicknamed the new smoking. So you want to just get up and move. It's much better for your cardiovascular system to literally stand up, take a walk, be in fresh air, move your arms, and do it vigorously, preferably for 20 minutes once every hour and 10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I get up and play with my dogs. That's what I do.
Good.
So I want to encourage everybody. I'm going to go back to the QR code. And if you haven't donated yet to the Lakota Children's Fund, the Lakota Law Project Children's Fund, please do this. It's really easy. Just take your iPhone or your Android or your cell phone and put it on camera mode and put it up close to the screen like this, and boom, you'll then see, it'll say open in Safari or open in your browser. You click it and it takes you right to the donation page. And this is really, really important. And Lori, you're the one who encouraged us to do this. Tell us why you are such a strong supporter of Lakota law.
Well, this particular project of Lakota law, they also played a big role in supporting Standing Rock, which I also cared about. But this also is supporting families having their children, parents having their children. And when I saw the movie Hearts on the Ground, the YouTube, I felt emotionally very moved, and it made me want to try to help.
Yeah. Well, we're going to show that a little bit later. We're going to show Ricky Polico.
I want to see health, and I want to see families coming together, and I want to see people who are Native American who grow up strong, like Chase.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his daughter is quite wonderful too.
Chase is a very positive role model.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got some great news. Valerie Romanoff is going to come back and play another song for us. We'll do that before Ricky Polikov. And Lori, I'm going to say thank you so much. I'm going to make a couple of announcements. So thank you so much, Lori, for sponsoring the show. And
thank you. It's been great, Scott.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful.
All right, guess what? Tomorrow is my Sacred Sunday show. And I'm really appreciating that more and more of you are coming to that. And tomorrow's going to be really, really special. TJ Woodward and I have been doing a series. I'm going to mute you, Lori. There we go. We've been doing a series with video from Reverend Michael Beckwith on how to manage the hardest things in life, compulsions, addictions, things like that. And so tomorrow is our third and final of the 3 episodes, if you will. And we will take questions from the audience. TJ and I will be live, and we'll be showing excerpts of a video interview that I did with Reverend Michael Beckwith, who's brilliant. So please join us in my Zoom room. I'm going to put the Zoom room information in the chat box while Valerie is playing her song. Please do join us 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for my Sacred Sunday show. Also happening tomorrow is Global Coherence Pulse is having their really big day. Once a month, they do a special day. And of course, Teresa Collins is one of our collaborators. I can hear Valerie warming up. That's pretty cool.
Oops, sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm going to actually add you. So
Okay, I'm going to underscore what you're saying.
Yeah, you can underscore me. Oh, my greatest fantasy to be underscored. So tomorrow, come to my Sacred Sunday show. We'll keep it short to an hour. So you can then go to the Global Coherence Pulse Day for 3 hours. And she's got Greg Braden and a whole host of amazing people. Claudia Weiss and Howard Martin, Deborah Rosman, Manos. So definitely that's happening tomorrow. Again,
I love Manos.
Oh, Manos is great, isn't he?
Ooh, I love Manos.
He's been on the show a few times.
Oh, his music is heavenly.
Yeah, so really important, everybody, to come to that. And then the last event I want to tell people about is next week's Straight Talk. You know, I do 3 shows every weekend. I do Straight Talk on Friday nights, this show on Saturday nights, and my Sacred Sunday show. And this is really all about my wanting to get the most amazing people out to the world, as we also deal with difficult topics. August 6th is the 73rd anniversary of the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. And we are going to have people from the United States and people from Japan, including a woman who's older now, who was a child in Hiroshima when the bomb was dropped. She's a survivor of the atomic bomb blast. And she's dedicated her life to creating peace between the nations. It's going to be a very powerful show. That's going to be next Friday night at 7:30 p.m. And again, I'll put the information on this show into the chat box while Valerie is playing. The very last announcement I want to make right now is just our upcoming August shows. We work really hard to create our schedule of shows. And so again, as I told you before, next week, all about embracing death with compassion. August 14th, Kristen Hoffman is coming back as our co-host and collaborator, Healing the Collective Wound Through the Power of Love. And Caroline Meese is going to be with us again. And she's brilliant, as well as several other speakers and presenters, and the Mystic Monastery, who's sponsoring it. August 21st is another Teresa Collins show. And finally, August 28th, Wisdom from the Stars, as understood by Indigenous people. So definitely join us every Saturday night. And you can register by going to globalpeacetribe.com. And when you get to register, you get to come to the early Zoom room show, stay for the after show, and what a great after show we have tonight. And Valerie, you are the best. Thank you for agreeing to do another song. And what do you got for us?
Can you hear me okay?
You sound great.
Oh, good. I'd like to kind of just show you my setup a little bit, if that's okay. And then I want to just play something. I want to just like sink into the kind of music that takes me on a journey and just invite everybody on that journey and just get to jam a little bit. That's really what I want to do. And if you still want a song, I'll do a song after. But I think just like a real little jam would be nice, and just everybody just sink into it and kind of find what feels good in your heart and just go there. You know, because we just, whatever we think about, that's what we send out the vibration of, and then that's what we get more back of. And so let's just sink into something really chill and nice and groovy. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, I'm going to be playing with, hold on, start my video. Yes. I'm just going to play a little groove music, something by the Jazz Crusaders. Is that loud enough, everybody?
Sounds great. Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm just going to groove a little bit. I'm going to do a little sound check as I start.
wow. That was fantastic. Just fantastic. Got a lot of people saying, I love your music. Great music to hear before to go to bed. So somebody asked for your YouTube site. So I put it in the spotlight, or I mean the chat box. And I am going to go there right now.
Okay, I think it's Valrock Music. Valerie Romanoff, Valrock Music, I believe. There we go. Yeah, so there's some still chill thrill on there. My albums are all still, you know, kind of ambient world, yoga meditation-ish. And then I have songs, but I haven't released them. All these like up-tempo songs, all of, you know, these positive message songs. A lot I'm writing with Johanna, and a lot I've written with the Starlight Orchestra, my band. So there's a whole bunch of like little videos about that and original songs that we've done. And then on the starlightmusic.com website is all the videos of our cover band, which is like, it's a 20-piece kick-ass band.
It's fantastic.
Thank you. I have music all night. If you know, I'm down. If
listen, be careful. I will take you up on that.
I'm dressed. I'm here.
Johanna's here. I'm going to put
Johanna, why don't we do our song again? You got it in you? Let's do our song. Let's lock it in. That would be fun. You got it?
Got my lyrics right here.
Okay, that's the spirit.
I just ate my dinner.
Johanna, we can't hear you though. Your microphone needs to be turned on or something like that.
Yeah. It's kind of...
I don't hear my microphone.
Yeah, it's still down. Oh, you could do it.
We want the complete Johanna experience. And
well, there's Chad.
Make sure you read all the wonderful comments in.
Oh, thank you.
Just love it.
Oh, it's cracking a little teeny.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, I know what we should do.
What song shall we do?
Can I just, while we're here, I don't know if Shay is still on, but I do want to acknowledge the art in the backdrop of my studio was done by my girlfriend, my partner, Shay Condro. And these were paintings that she printed on canvas. Wow. So anyway, I wanted to acknowledge that, but now.
We love you, Shay.
Where did it go?
Can my sound be heard now?
Yeah, it's great now.
Yes.
What was it?
And
Always curious.
Shay is in the chat box and he says, I'm here. Thank you, lady.
Oh, yay. Okay. Now I also want to show, can you put me back on? I want to show
That's on you.
It is? Oh, okay. I wanted to show my butterfly, but I just realized it's backwards. Shay would be she would have changed it in a second. But anyway, this is also Shay. This beautiful transformational, this beautiful butterfly. I love this. And the art and that painting, which is my album cover as well. So hi, Shay, you're here with us. We've done a lot of events together with Johanna and me and Shay, yoga festivals and things in Sedona.
So Shay, if you can put your website in the chat box, I'll pull it up and we'll take a look at it and it'll live forever. So.
Scott, I was going to ask you, Shay is doing something called Follow the Peace Trail all the month of September. And she's doing, I wanted to chat with you about it. It's a really cool project, bringing forth so much, from the heart, peace energy.
Well, let's have it on one of our shows for sure.
Yes. Okay.
So tell me all about it and we will do something wonderful to promote it and to get it out there.
Fantastic.
Are you ready to do
something? Johanna, we're going to do this?
Yeah, what song would you like to do?
I think we should do the one we did tonight and do it again and get a little comfortable with it. A little reprise.
Okay.
We'll know the words better. And then, I can always do something else if anybody asks me to.
I think that I had the old version pulled up. Bear with me because you emailed this. Here we go. Are you ready to rock, my party people? Saturday night alive.
Woo!
Yay.
all of our souls can be fed. So we shine, made of the same, we're made of the same stars, and we shine wherever we are, wherever we are. We shine on the inside. Ooh, oh, shine on, hey, hey. So shine out across the earth, reflect all the love we've sown. 'Cause we shine, made of the same stars. We shine wherever we are, wherever we are.
Wow. You two do shine wherever you are. Absolutely. You two
Thanks
just
for helping us shine tonight.
thank you. I love you guys so much. I'm the luckiest guy in the world that I get to listen to you play and pop you on a little bit. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Wow.
soon. Love you, brother.
Yeah, I just want to say, Johanna, that was great. I love that. That was really great. I think we did some really fun thing there. And Scott, you're the best.
We created that 2 hours before the show, and they allowed and loved us sharing such a uniquely newly birthed.
What you don't know is that I've had this track and loved it for like a little while now and have not known what to do with it, and knew the day would come where it would just all fall into place, with the right thing. And that was today. It was just for this, It's just so perfect. Oh, and look at Chad back there. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we needed the rhythm because we're so
Yeah.
new to the track. So this was awesome to have a bonus drummer tonight.
Thank you, bonus drummer.
Woo! Thanks, Chad Ross.
Scott, thank you so much. You are the best. You make us feel so welcome, so welcome and so loved, and really care what we bring, and love this platform.
Yeah.
You're great.
That's all about it. I mean, we really are, everybody, not just people on camera, but all of us are part of this incredible global peace tribe. And we all are getting to know each other. We're all the imaginal cells finding each other.
Yes.
And speaking of which, I have pulled up Shay's website.
Oh, yay! There's Shay.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about where I should click and what we should know?
Oh, wow. Okay, I wish Shay was on here to guide us through this website. Okay.
Well, wait a minute. That can happen. I am a magic man. So Shay, if you're up for it.
Oh, come on, Shay, baby.
I am going to promote you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes,
Now
sir.
she may be in her pajamas and she may not be into it. So
Yeah, but she would be amazing no matter how she showed up.
I'm offering her the opportunity to come on. And here she is. Well, the box is here. And
Oh, so excited.
drum roll. There she is.
Shay.
You
Wait,
need to unmute, Shay.
Hey, I want to hear you also, Shay. You're muted. What a nice, pleasant surprise.
Lower left-hand corner.
I'm just going to say how I met Valerie and Shay, just because I think it's kind of relevant in this moment, since we're unmuting Shay right now.
Johanna, bring your microphone closer.
Oh, yes, I will speak into the microphone. I am a singer. Okay, so I was at Festival of Colors was it Las Vegas that I met you guys?
Yes, I was playing with Larissa Stowe.
Yeah,
Shackleton
so
tribe.
there's this Festival of Colors tour, and we have been doing 10 festivals a year. And it's the celebration for spring in India. And so we throw chalk colors into the air at the Krishna Temple in Salt Lake City, Utah. And Spanish Fork are the main headquarters, but then we had Vegas and Los Angeles and all of the things. And so we're at the Vegas Festival of Colors, and I don't know if I was crowd surfing that day, but it was not an uncommon thing at that festival. And I was covered in colors because Larissa really brings it, and then I really bring it. So we've just got this whole rock band chant thing going on. And I just remember meeting Shay and Valerie, and Valerie's fiery red hair in the sunlight of Las Vegas. And we're all just totally in bliss land, falling in love, because that's what we do at these festivals. And we all hung out for a while in the sunset or something. It was just really magical. And we have never lost touch. That was how many years ago? 6? 5?
It was like 6.
6 years ago now. So
2017.
I don't know.
Yes, and then we were in Sedona. Shay, are you with us?
Are you unmuted?
No, can't hear you.
Unmuted. Shay, if you're on a computer in the lower left-hand corner, if you're on an iPad, okay, so in an iPad, it's usually in the upper right-hand corner or upper left-hand corner. You got to tap and you'll see like a little thing that says like a little icon, a little microphone icon. Well, while she's figuring that out, I'm going to go back to her website. And why don't you just tell us a little bit, and then I still got to show Ricky Polico. So tell us a little bit about.
So Shay has everything she does. She's an artist of all these paintings, prints, a jewelry line, and sculptures, and everything she does comes from a background of a sincere wish for peace, for peace on earth and the happiness of all beings. And so that's like her background, and it comes through in all of these amazingly creative ways. Like, so if you click on paintings and prints, she does pointillism, where she paints these transformational images with little dots, and each dot is a prayer.
Oh my
and
God.
So you could really get into that, and each like prayer is like really intentional, and it's for really empowering in the moment and putting forth. So look, these are some of her paintings.
These paintings one dot at a time.
Yes, it's amazing, and there's prints of them. There's limited editions of she clays. So
one dot at a time.
Every dot.
Holy Moses.
And some of her pieces are huge. They're like 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet. Buddhist, deities. Like amazing, like detail. Like I can't wait for you to, really get into it. So and then the jewelry, I mean, is amazing. I'm always wearing Shay's jewelry. They have, there's like touchstones where you can, there's what I'm wearing, except it's turned the other way. You touch the stone to kind of come back to your center. They're like, everything is like tools and tips for, leading a really meaningful and present life. How did I do, Shay? I was like,
Well, here, this just goes to show all of you. Join the Zoom room. You never know. You might come on and spontaneously we'll be promoting whatever it is you do, because I want everybody to know about what everybody's doing, right? I did promise to show the Ricky Polikov presentation. This is what we showed during the early show, but some of you weren't in the early show. So I'm going to play this. It is a 23-minute video. To be very honest, I'm going to start it and then I'm going to go walk my dogs because they've been very patient, but I will time it and I'll be back in 22 minutes or something like that. And if Valerie is still here, or Johanna's still here, or Shay's learned how to turn on a microphone, we will hear from them. And if not, then I've got one more thing for you all. So,
okay, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
See where we are in 20 minutes.
Exactly. If the world will still be with us in 23 minutes. So here we go. Let me find Ricky Polikove. Where is she hiding? Here she is. There's actually some really, really great information here. So this is the third time I will have, played it, and I then recorded it with her live. So, all right. Let me make sure that I've got the sound turned on. I do. Okay. Here we go.
Good afternoon and welcome. It's a pleasure to be with you today discussing one of my favorite passions, which is maintaining good brain health throughout our life cycles, with a special emphasis on the unique challenges that may occur to women who live long enough to experience menopause, which of course is a fairly universal event if we live long enough. So we're going to journey hopefully to my slide set, and you'll be able to come along with me and view some data. I kept the data to a minimum, but I think it's the synthesis that are most compelling. So I've been in medicine long enough to have seen the mechanistic view of the individual predominate and finally soften. My own background included a study of Ayurveda, homeopathy, and got into traditional Chinese medicine, not to provide it, but to understand it and be more intelligent in how I networked with complementary care providers and benefited my patients. So this mechanistic view of us as a series of pulleys and levers and the heart as a pump really did not include the sentient experiences of so many of us. I love this slide because here is a kind of cartoon of the Mona Lisa if she had hot flashes and a sleep disturbance and looked depressed or anxious. And many of these things, of course, are reported subtly or forcefully to doctors in the course of women's healthcare, but are we listening? This slide was actually part of a wonderful presentation by a woman who's in the upper right-hand corner. That's Pauline Mack, and she's a brilliant neuroscientist who's really focused her career on the perimenopause. This is work done by another wonderful colleague of mine, Roberta Diaz-Brinton, who has looked at the multiple areas of the brain in particular where estrogen receptors may be influencing very important functions, both metabolic and also cognitive. So how we retrieve a word, how we learn a new topic, how we store that, all of these things, how we process emotions, they all have to do with estrogen and the brain. And of course, for the men, you've had estrogen your whole life. And I'll show you a slide in a little bit that is actually your hormones as compared to women's hormones throughout the lifespan. These are some of the troubling publications that I have followed over the last several years. This one from 2017 by a Dr. Lisa Mosconi. Her name will also come up later because she has devoted her career to understanding what are the antecedent risk factors that may cause dementia to appear in women, knowing that her female relatives developed dementia as older women, whereas none of her male relatives did. So that launched her on a path from Italy. And I have, if you wish, some links to her work that are on YouTube. She's very charming as a speaker. But basically, she correlated shrinking brain volumes in women through the menopausal transition with future decreasing cognitive quality. So the prevalence of dementia became quite motivating for a lot of physicians and, of course, patients alike. And families by the millions have cared for people with various degrees of dementia. We estimate, as of 2017, about 5 million Americans, with an estimate of 16 million by 2050. I think, unfortunately, at the rate we're expanding that population, it's going to be greater. And just the cost in dollars, which we know emotionally the cost is unmeasurably high, but $277 billion was the cost in 2018. And I mention that number because a lot of us are paying attention to COVID and the giant rescue packages and infrastructure bills. Well, we're talking that kind of cost for dementia. And of course, that does not include the billions estimated at 232 billion for unpaid care providers who are mostly family members. And of course, one knows they're usually the female family members. It's the 6th leading cause of death in the United States, and 1 in 3 women will actually die from a diagnosis of dementia. Again, Dr. Lisa Mosconi that I mentioned, she has the Weill Cornell Center for Healthy Brain Aging, focusing on women. There's a male doctor who focuses on male brain health, but her book, Brain Food, that came out in 2018, I highly recommend for men and women, and it's all true. She took a break from her career in neuroscience and got a master's in nutrition so that she could really understand the fundamentals of nutrition and oxidative burden and all these kinds of things that you'll probably hear in a talk from Dale Bredesen, who's also part of this evening's presentations. So here's a slide I mentioned earlier. I like you to see the difference between men and women, which I say viva la différence, but at the same time, if we take a look here at testosterone levels in newborn infants, you can see that boys and girl babies have hormones from their mother. Then we go along as children, and adolescence at some point, menarche is when girls start their menstrual period, and you can see the red line where we have estrogen sufficiency in ample amounts until we're in our mid-40s, and then our estrogen level declines and it remains very low and insufficient the rest of our lives unless we take a hormone support. Whereas look at men and their dominant hormone, testosterone. Men cruise along this blue line, and you can see after 50, there is a slight decline, not really huge. And in fact, at most, it's about a 20% decrease from optimal levels of young men by age 82. That's the final age here. Also to note, and this is a very important difference, is that men maintain an estradiol level, this blue line, that tracks really quite consistently through your entire life. The uptick here, subtle, but you can see it at the end, may be due to a little adiposity as men get a little more beer belly in the tummy. And so they actually make some estrogen in their fat, just like women can. But here's what happens with women's testosterone, which is our less dominant hormone. It's very small and it gets, as I say to my patients, more measly with time. Here's the big issue as I see it in our lives today. If we look back historically, in 1850, relatively few of us, less than half of us, actually lived to be menopausal age. Our average life expectancy was about 45 in 1850, right after the Civil War. So then you progress, and again, most people never really think about this, but between 1850 and 1900, we started to improve sewage. We put sewage underground. We believed in hand washing. And then you see life expectancy increase and reach the age of actually 49 by about 1900, and ultimately by 2000 reaches 81. The crucial element here, and this is the area in yellow, is to say this entire additional life expectancy is not accompanied by any physiologic miracle of biologic evolution. So we live out about 40% of our lifespan with hormonal deprivation. And I say this kind of boldly because there's no question that endocrine aging, meaning our retired ovaries, are highly associated with late onset Alzheimer risk. So these are lessons that we've learned from observing women and our outcome. As I said earlier, 2/3 of Alzheimer diagnoses are in women, and 1 out of 3 of us will die from a dementia, but we really don't have any biologic adaptation for this state. And I call this reality for women the brutal biologic truth. I have an evolutionary perspective, not just evolution of the physical, biologic evolution, but I tell my patients we are rooted like a grand tree in our evolutionary biologic past, but we have this arborizing, I think, infinite consciousness opportunity if the trunk of the tree and the branches are in good health. So I really see us as this divine opportunity for living long enough that we can develop our consciousness well beyond our physical evolution. But it requires some hormonal support for women if we are going to experience the best quality of life and duration of disease-free life as compared to men. Women have particular midlife issues that now increasingly may visit men because men have become much more involved in caretaking of children and their parents and friends as they age and experience illness. But women particularly have these personal health factors with the care providing for not just their parents and often aunts and uncles, but teenage children who we all recognize can present extra challenges and concerns. And then we have our professions, our work inside the home, outside the home. And on top of all that, no one tells you, oh, this is happening to you because actually you're in menopause. Unless you have your blood drawn or have a very sensitive clinician who's listening carefully, that may escape notice for you and your care provider. Stress contributes hugely to disadvantageous biology as well, and that certainly does not seem fair either. But as I've listened to women, I will say since about 2010, 2011, concerns about dementia far exceed their concerns about cancer. And of course, whenever we're doing an educational program, we try to remind the audience that it's actually heart disease that kills most of us. So, you know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And happily, what prevents dementia, prevents heart disease, prevents diabetes. And you can imagine all these wellness factors relate rather intimately to inflammation or antioxidant lifestyles. So this book came out several years ago. It's also a fantastic lay book by Elizabeth Blackburn. And Elizabeth Blackburn received a Nobel Prize for telomeres. And probably most of you on this broadcast know what telomeres are. What she showed with her work, studying a little pond scum, basically, was that as telomeres, the ends of chromosomes shortened, other evidences of aging accelerated. And particularly in the brain, we know that stress causes telomere shortening to accelerate. And that's one of the features of the ApoE gene that is associated with increased Alzheimer's risk. So now we're putting together the puzzle to show, these telomeres that, to me, this looks like skeins of yarn. For those of you who are knitters, I think we could knit a pretty cute pair of telomeres. But the important thing is that shorter is bad. And not surprisingly, estrogen helps to maintain the integrity and the health, kind of like the little plastic on the end of your tennis shoe that keeps it from unraveling, your tennis shoe lace that keeps it from unraveling. So we have known risk factors for dementia. One of them is, of course, increasing age. That's the same for all of us. If the blood flow inside the brain is not optimal, that clearly decreases flow, and that decreases the ability for all the cells to have enough oxygen. And oxygen is the breath of life, and it provides needed energy for all the cellular processes that have to do with cognition, memory, etc. But female sex is a significant risk factor, as is years of estrogen deficiency. I've listed many things here, which you've probably read ahead to see, that the biggies that we can do something about is to recognize our mood state if we're anxious or depressed, to deal with that. As much as mindfulness may deal with much of it, many times we actually are chemical inheritors of poor neurotransmitters for longevity without anxiety and depression. There's no shame in seeking some pharmacologic help. The other things that we can do a lot about here, clearly our sedentary lifestyle, which has been normalized in our culture, but clearly that leads to poor cardiovascular fitness and higher risk for metabolic diseases like high blood sugars and elevated cholesterol, and all the things that basically grease the skids for blood vessel occlusions, atherosclerosis, stroke, etc. So these are other books that I'd like to recommend. I have no interest in these books, by the way, but again, by Lisa Mosconi, her next book, which came out in 2020 in the spring, was XX Brain. And probably because of COVID, I don't think it got the press it should have, but it's a fabulous book talking about XX chromosome, that would be female brains, and the particulars. The foreword in this book is written by Luann Brizendine, who's a long-term colleague and friend. She's also a neuroscientist, psychiatrist, just retired recently from UCSF, but she wrote the 2006 book called The Female Brain and 2011 book called Male Brain. And although there's a lot of discussion and argument, as professionals often do, about sort of lumping versus splitting when people write lay books, but these are very helpful books to understand that the challenges to healthy aging in ignorance, and being well informed really helps women get on the program and stick with it. The book Estrogen Matters is also very important. Avram Blooming, the first author, is an oncologist at USC who specializes in breast cancer and has written and published and researched extensively for his basically entire career on estrogen and breast cancer, proving that estrogen does not cause breast cancer. It's very important because that's a big deterrent. It's a big misinformation that's spread in the culture. And Carol Tavris, who's a wonderful, articulate feminist psychologist. For many of you, you've never heard of the Women's Health Initiative, but these pictures are from the covers of Newsweek, Time, and US News in 2002, when the Women's Health Initiative, which was all about Premarin or Prem-Pro, and mostly much older women, then we would start hormone therapy normally in clinical practice. The average age was 63. The average age of perimenopausal symptoms is about 45. So, you know, these much older women had a much different outcome. Also, they had oral estrogen, which is not as innocuous for older women as transdermal or through the skin, through the vagina delivery of estradiol. Estradiol being our natural bioidentical hormone made by our ovaries in ample amount, just like men make testosterone in ample amount in their testicles, and they make that crucial little bit of estrogen in their testicles forever. But when we have prolonged ages and decades of estrogen deficiency, this is what happens to the majority of women. If we live long enough without some medical therapy, we will develop osteoporosis. And the average age of women, by the way, in the Women's Health Initiative study that sort of cast this pall against estrogen over really our nation and the world, was about where the second woman in the slide is. She's supposed to be around 63 or 65. Of course, for a lot of us, we are not expecting to use a cane by then. The only thing that's really not representative of women today is these are fairly thin women. And the average body mass index of women that were studied in that clinical trial was 28.5. And that's, I show that to patients. It's much, much heavier than the vast majority of women in the San Francisco Bay Area or Los Angeles, New York. You know, the major cities have less obesity. And most of you know that being very overweight, defined as a body mass index over 26, with morbid obesity being a body mass index over 34, these are huge risk factors for diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and other complications. So we like to not just single out Alzheimer's as the risk, but to say your whole health really depends upon your lifestyle and addressing those risk factors. There's a very simple slide I made to basically illustrate the foundations of health or disease are mostly epigenetic, meaning they are our lifestyle contributions that either fuel the genetic risks, which account for about 30% of disease. So there are many of us who have terrible cholesterol, and we can stand on our heads, be angelic, not eat a teeny bit of saturated fat, no butter fat, no animal fat, and we'll still have abnormal cholesterol, which is disadvantageous. So those are the people who comprise the group that really will do better with statins, especially after 55 or 60. But A colleague of mine expresses it very vividly. She says, genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger, which is pretty bold, but we don't forget that, because the things that are in our control in lifestyle are numerous. And following slide is one I found a few years ago. It isn't a Gary Larson, it's another comic strip writer, but the ease of a doctor saying, yeah, cut back on the crap is way too glib. And I try to problem solve and find out, where are the pitfalls to connecting with your divine self? Because if we held ourselves in a loving gaze, I always think practicing looking in the mirror and look at that person and start your day with a reflection of admiration and a bit of awe and love. And I think that helps us center and stay on track, not because I'm afraid of getting fat or afraid of a disease, but because I am the temple for my soul. And it's through this vehicle that I get to grow and expand my consciousness and share love and connect to all beings. So that's my inspirational moment, not to just focus on the clinical consequences of obesity, but these are, in fact, what our public health experts and individual clinicians are really trying to help us, the public, get a handle on. So type 2 diabetes, the adult onset type of diabetes, which is insulin resistance, loss of muscle mass actually occurs with overweight, very overweight, trouble breathing, the incidence of sleep apnea, how many people are referred for these sleep studies. But I always wonder how we might have avoided a lot of these complications had we connected lovingly and appreciated the miracle that we really are. Lastly, we can map a new paradigm. And this is a picture I drew a few years ago to sort of have an image that really incorporates the mindfulness, the public health, medical surgical care being just one little petal, energy medicine, that would be Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, other forms of healing. Exercise is a crucial petal of my flower. Body therapies with massage and all kinds of wonderful things we can experience in water. Biggie is nutrition and diet, but just to have a whole person view of me in my integrated self as I'm learning and growing and hopefully having the opportunity to transform with time. There are medical tests to guide our individual risks. You can look this up on the National Institutes of Health website, and particular to women, I really encourage pap smears. We're learning more and more about the value of these. I encourage mammography annually after 40. Additional tests may be indicated for women at very high risk. And the bone density. In my age group of women, Diet Coke was a big factor in teenage years. So many women who were teenagers in the 60s and 70s actually never reached optimal bone mass because they substituted soda for milk. So we know a lot about the future, and the future is really in our hands as we engage lovingly and consciously and mindfully in our own self-care, from your brain to the tip of your toes. Thank you for listening.
And thank you, Dr. Ricky Polikov, and the 94 people still in our Zoom room, and anybody watching on Facebook. Pretty amazing information. I do want to show one more thing. This is another, oops, no, not that. This is a book that she wrote, and looks great. It's called Mother Nurture, play on words, Mother Nurture, A Mother's Guide to Health and Body, Mind, and Intimate Relationships. So check it out. It's on Amazon. And that's, I think for any of you that have really been touched by Ricky, that's a good thing to get. Guess who's here? Shay. Have you figured out?
I found a way to unmute there, Scott.
Oh my God, you have a wonderful voice.
Thank you. Thank you. May it somehow be used to benefit beings.
how do you do that? Like one dot at a time?
I do. I use a little brush, and I was fascinated by the technique when I was first exposed to it. At the time, I was ordained as a Buddhist nun in the Tibetan tradition, and there's a practice of offering a mandala where you envision all these jeweled universes filling space with offerings to bring blessings to beings. And I realized that each of those dots could be exactly that. And so just taking a little brush and dab, 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 one dot at a time, and imbuing it with an intention to create a more peaceful and compassionate world. It seemed like such a good idea. So for about 20 years, I've been doing that, and have really enjoyed it. And there's been a wonderful response. People can feel the work.
Wow. I'm pulling up just at random one of the things that you did. So, I mean, I cannot imagine you doing that.
Now that original painting has a lot of detail, and it is very significant in its symbolism. I love the language of symbols. That piece is about 4 by 5 feet, and I spent an entire year on just that piece.
Wow. That is incredible. I am going to add Valerie. I noticed Valerie's with us. So Valerie, I'm adding you to our spotlight here.
Where did she go?
Oh, see, the moment you add someone, it's kind of like when you are trying to get, she came back with a friend. She came back with a friend, her best friend.
Yes. Oh, that's a special friend too.
Right, a constant companion. Valerie, you are muted. Is there, what else, while we've got you briefly here, is there anything else you'd like for us to show?
Well, you know, Scott, there is something I'd like to share, and people are welcome to explore the site. There is something that I do each year that I call Follow the Peace Trail, and it's in honor of my favorite holiday, which is the International Day of Peace that falls on September 21st. And typically I produce a series of events during this time that is meant to point to the good works of other people and what they're doing, thought leaders and peace advocates, but also to provide tools and practices for each of us to be able to, well, I will say that the information about this year's Peace Trail is not up yet. I'm just in meetings about that. But if you go to the homepage, and then just kind of scroll down a little bit. And the link that's there is not going to take you to the updated information, but you can get an idea of what we did last year. We're going to keep it, that's a TED Talk I did. We're going to, and then I'm part of a group called Sacred Sedona Now, and we're energy healers here in Sedona, Arizona, which is where I live.
Well, and, lucky you, I might add.
I am. I've been here about 23 years, and it's really a place that I love calling home. And a little further down is where there will be information soon about the Peace Trail 2021. And it's meant to provide tools and practices to help each of us in our own personal peace practice, whether we're looking for inner peace or peace in our relationships, or whether we are committed to a more global perspective of the possibility of a peaceful world. So this year on the Follow the Peace Trail YouTube channel, I'm interviewing, fortunately, they're mostly all friends of mine. They are thought leaders and peace advocates, and we're going to be sharing something about their work in very short videos, and then offering some tools that any of us could use, things that we might consider embracing. I call it small acts of immeasurable benefit. And so, and I'd like to invite you, Scott, to be one of the people. We'll do a little short interview, point to your show and your different programs that you do. And then I would ask you to share from your experience and your perspective. What are some of the small things people might consider adopting, attitudes or actions that might support their own movement towards peace?
Can I give you one right now?
Yes, I would love that.
I'll give you my favorite one, and I want to acknowledge that this is something I learned from Marshall Rosenberg, who was my mentor. And I traveled and I taught commercial, and he was a big influence on my life. And that is for us to consciously remove enemy images from the way we think.
Yes, that's beautiful.
So what does that look like? It's eliminating words like asshole, idiot, bitch. And sometimes those are directed at ourselves. Sometimes like, oh my God, I'm such an idiot, right?
Yes.
Anytime we look at ourselves or look at another person and we dehumanize them by going to one of those words, it's an act of violence. And if we can recognize that no one is an asshole, nobody is a bitch. What's true is sometimes people's choices or behaviors are funky. So if we can differentiate between the behavior, the choice, sometimes we need to set a boundary, sometimes we need to be discerning. But we can set boundaries and be discerning without dehumanizing each other.
And sometimes it's our own perspective and we're having a reaction that we may need to take responsibility for. So that's a perfect example, Scott. And those are the kind of things that we'll be offering from a variety of perspectives: conflict resolution, conscious communication, conscious entrepreneurship, sustainability, small ways that people can take action in their own lives and be empowered towards creating change and supporting this movement, this active, vibrant, beautiful movement towards a more awakened consciousness and a more peaceful and compassionate world.
And what are the dates again in September?
The videos will start posting in 1st of September. They'll post throughout the month. They can be found on the Follow the Peace Trail YouTube channel. And then they'll also go out on the Follow the Peace Trail Facebook page. And I have some young people in my on my team that are going to help us move things out onto even some platforms I have yet to be introduced to. So I'm excited.
I would love to invite you on Sunday, September 5th.
Okay.
To be on my Sacred Sunday show. It's 10 a.m. California time. And I have amazing people. Last week I had John Kay, the lead guitar player and the man from Steppenwolf. We've had Johanna. We got to have Valerie. We got to book Valerie one of these days.
I would love that.
And we bring in somebody like yourself, and we go deeper. And it's a chance, since you're kicking this thing off in September, and my September 5th is open.
That would be perfect timing, Scott. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Valerie, for playing matchmaker here and connecting me with your friend. So
I've been enjoying your show. Of course, I was inspired to get on and watch Valerie play. I of course, adore her and appreciate her music and have just really loved the show. I've loved the show. I particularly loved, in fact, you're going to be with one of the speakers from the Addiction Show tomorrow morning. I think
with TJ Woodward.
Yes, I thought the people on that show, that was a brilliant episode. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, TJ, he's amazing. And his book, Conscious Recovery, just completely, it's the next level of understanding, and all of us have addictions and compulsions. It might be like ice cream, or it might be something much more dangerous. But we all have a little pleasure center remembers, oh, wow, that tasted really good. Oh, wow, that was really yummy. I want more.
Yes, exactly. It's all about the mind and taking responsibility, getting to know it, and making some different choices.
Absolutely. And not getting lost in the cycle of shame. Because and that's why Gabor Mate's work is so important, because he's really done a beautiful, compassionate, and wise job of helping us understand how our shame story keeps us rooted in codependent relationships.
So true. His recent film is brilliant.
The Wisdom of Trauma.
Really well done. Yes.
Yeah. We promote that film a lot on this show, actually.
Yeah, I appreciate that film. Yes, please be in touch. Let's do something more.
Definitely, I guess, Valerie, you can
I'll connect you guys. That will be my pleasure.
I am going to put the full spotlight on Miss Valerie here.
Well, before you do, I want to. I think the song that I chose to play next is actually something that was born out of Shay's words, and some of your concepts. So we wrote the song together, me, Shay, and our dear friend Gideon Luke McKinney.
Oh, that was a great night. That was really great.
And I'm going to show a clip from last year's Peace Day Music Festival. We did a big concert on Peace Day. It was all like streamed in, and Johanna was on it, and Larissa was on it, and all of our friends. But so Gideon was with me, and we're going to play the song that we all wrote, and it's kind of a little bit of a sing along. We're thinking about kirtan, but English. Just letting people sing the vibrations of words. And create their reality with their words. Can you perhaps make me host so I can share my screen?
You can go ahead and share it without being host.
Oh, great. Okay, so hold on one second. Okay, here we go. Okay, so unmute myself. Audio. Do I have to do any special setting?
Just as long as you're sharing sound, I think you're good.
Let's see. Oh. I
swear that I'm not insane.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. That's not where I was going. I'm sorry. Gideon, Luke, and the people, and I see Shannon on there in the waiting room backstage. Okay, I'm sorry. Yep, this is it. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Everybody can sing along.
Up in here. Up in here. It's a people party. It's a people party. Everybody. It's a people party. It's a people party. Up in here. Up in here. Ooh, up in here. Up in here. We all want to be happy. We all want to be happy. And we all want to be loved. We all want to be loved. Woo! Oh, let your heart, let your love. Now it's time to start. Woo! Let your light show. Open up your heart. Let your love flow. Now it's time to start. Let your light show. It's a people party. It's a people party. It's a people party. It's a people party. Up in here. Up in here. Ooh, up in here. Up in here. And we all want to be happy. Anybody want to be happy tonight? And we all want to be loved. We all want to be loved. We can make it together. We can make it together. Let's go. Now's the time to start. Let tonight show. Open up your heart. Let your love go. Now's the time to start. Let tonight show. Open up your heart. Let your love go. Now's the time to start. Let your light show. Open up your heart. Come on. Let
Thank you for playing that for us, Val. All right.
That was fun. That was fun. Fun moment. Fun memory.
Lead with love.
Wonderful to meet you, Shay. Val, thanks for staying with us until the end. And I really want to thank everybody who's been with us. My gosh, you're all still with us, which is a rather remarkable thing. And also just hello to anybody watching the replay. I've put into the chat box all the information about tomorrow, the Sacred Sunday show, the Global Coherence Project, and then Straight Talk next Friday night. So have a beautiful evening, and remember, we can make any moment, any day sacred by seeing the divine in all. No more enemy images, but rather seeing divinity in all. Thank you.